Alabama and Mississippi State, two teams with electrifying and explosive running backs. The Bulldogs' James Johnson is the #1 rusher in the SEC. The senior's about ready to add his name to the school's record books, needing a little over his average of 130 yards a game to be State's all-time season rushing leader. The Tide's Sean Alexander already has 1,000 yards on the season and 10 touchdowns to his name, and the junior is a big reason why Alabama has recovered from last year's worst record in 40 years to being bowl eligible this season. A lot on the line today in Starkville. A duel of two of the best running backs in the nation as both teams continue to fight for a chance to go bowling. Be a battle of future SEC quarterback stars as redshirt freshman Andrew Zhao leads the Crimson Tide against the Mississippi State Bulldogs and their redshirt freshman quarterback Wayne Matkin, two surprise starters that got the job early in the season. It's the Crimson Tide at 6-3 taking on the Bulldogs of Mississippi State at 5-3 from Scott Field in Starkville, Mississippi. And hello again, everybody. I am Dave Neal along with my partner Dave Rowe, and it has rained for the past 12 hours here in Starkville. Those behind us know what we're talking about because it has poured. But really, for this football game, Dave, it doesn't make that much of a difference because these teams will run the football. They've got two of the top 3 runners in the Southeastern Conference. And really, the key today will be trying to slow down these guys, and James Johnson and Sean Alexander.
Absolutely, Dave. That's a big question. How do you stop the run? Now, Alabama knows that Mississippi State is a right-handed running team. They run a lot behind Randy Thomas, so they'll concentrate on that. And Reggie Grimes is the one that's up front that's got to stop him. To stop Johnson, you've got to stop him up in the line. You can't allow him to get into the secondary.
Johnson is hot right now, went for over 200 last week, but Sean Alexander is no slouch either. He went for over 100 last week for Alabama. Stopping him will be a real trick, too.
Well, it's a different type of runner, Dave, Sean Alexander is more of a slash-type runner. Get to the outside, turn it up, make that little cutback, and it's going to take these two tough ends in Campbell and Smith to stop him. You see the number of tackles. They're very active. They've got to keep Alexander inside, stop him from getting outside on him.
A tough break for Mississippi State. They have lost their linebacker, Barron Simpson, but there's still going to be some solid football. Everybody's on hand. It's the Crimson Tide and the Bulldogs. Stay with us. Kickoff coming your way next.
Today's Bell South SEC Game of the Week is brought to you by Bell South. Bell South is proud to be the official telecommunications company of the SEC. By the new Money Manager account from Nations Bank and Nations Bank Investments. Raise your money to the next power. By the all-new BMW 3 Series. Everything your car does well, it does brilliantly. By Domino's Heatwave. Just one more way Domino's is delivering 1 million smiles a day. By Nationwide Insurance. For insurance coverage and financial services that meet your needs, call a Nationwide insurance agent today and get Nationwide on your side. And by Dodge, the truck stop of the New South, the new Dodge.
The Bulldogs hit the field in Starkville, Mississippi. And right now, let's check in with the third member of our team, Warren Pepper, who's with Jackie Sherrill.
Thanks, Dave. Jackie, you told me you got to be physical. You got to win the kicking game. Does the all-night rain make that easier or tougher to achieve?
Well, it should help us unless we fall down when they throw the long bomb, but we got to play physical. They're a finesse team offensively where they throw the ball, gets out, and you just have to make them get out of that finesse game and try to get them into a physical game.
You want to get at it, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to let you go. They're trying to beat these guys for the 3rd straight year. Dave, back upstairs to you.
Thank you very much, Warren. And that weather certainly, I think, will play a factor. It's hard to avoid the fact that it has rained here and rained hard for the past 12 years. The temperature today about 53 degrees, winds about 5 to 10 miles an hour, and of course rain is in the forecast for the remainder of the afternoon. And whose hands does that play into?
Well, you start to think about a field like this, but let me tell you, first of all, this field drains fantastic. They've got pumps underneath it, takes the water up. The driest place around here is out on that field. But I think the advantage, if you want to talk about an early advantage, you would think that it would go to James Johnson and Mississippi State because Johnson is more of a smash mouth runner straight up and break through the line.
Mike DuBose in his second season at Alabama with a 500 record. This team is nothing like last year's football team. The recruiting class that he brought in, tremendous athletes, and they're starting to show because they're playing a lot of young players. And at this late in the season, you're not really a young football player anymore. So this Alabama team with their work cut out today on the road, but they have won 4 of their last 5 football games.
Well, Mike DuBose really, Dave, looks at this team in a different way. He said, we want to get from 0 to 100. We're at about 80. So he knows that he's not there quite yet, but he's got a lot of confidence in the guys. He's getting a lot of respect from some of the young players, and some of the old players are really complimenting him.
Mark Wisniewski will kick off. The freshman out of Jacksonville, Florida, Kevin Prentice, and Pig Prather back to receive the kick for the Mississippi State Bulldogs, and we are underway. Prentice to the 20. He's got some room. Wisniewski can't catch him. Across the 50 to the 46-yard line. What a start for the Bulldogs. Freddie Millens brings him down.
Boy, did you see him break through that line? It was just, you talk about a burst of speed. When he caught the football, he tapped himself on the chest, says, it's my ball. Now watch right there, my ball. Now watch right in here, you'll see him explode. Right in here, when he just comes right through here. Woo, man, then the explosion is on. Boy, that's where you want to start the football. 46-yard line of Alabama.
52-yard return to open up the game for Kevin Prentice. In the I formation, Matkin's hands off to guess who? James Johnson.
Tackle by Spencer.
Here's a look at our Nations Bank small business starting lineups.
Well, it's a good starting lineup. James Johnson, everybody's heard about. Kevin Prentice is their go-to guy. 25 catches, averages almost 19 yards. And up front, that offensive line, Randy Thomas, will focus a lot on him. He's a big, strong drive blocker. He loves this rushing game.
There is the redshirt freshman Wayne Matkin. Threw for 2 touchdowns last week, 163 yards, and he's thrown for 6 touchdowns in his last 3 football games, so he is throwing the football extremely well. He's swinging out to Johnson. Pass one defender. Inside the 20, down to the 10 and the 5.
Oh, and what a great block by Anthony Cack, number 78. On the outside backer, Steve Stanley. He just swallowed him. Anthony Capp is about 330 pounds. He came out of the backfield on the swing pass. You can see him coming in. Number 78, you'll see him come into your screen. And boom, he just drives him to the outside there, allows Johnson to cut back underneath. Now look what Johnson does when he gets the football. Back to the dirt. He just sees that end zone. He drags people down. What a start for Mississippi State.
Reggie Miles had to make the touchdown-saving tackle. The Bulldogs at the 5. The pitch to Johnson. Slides inside one defender. Loses about a yard.
Well, that's a good rush there by Jamie Carter. He turned it back inside.
Here's a look at our Nations Bank Alabama defense.
Well, you talk about stopping the run. We talked about Grimes, but really Griffin, Cornelius Griffin, 97, big nose tackler. He's got a slide. He really has to play well. And Trevis Smith, he's their number 2 tackler. Backside, a lot of times he needs to slide. In the secondary, Marcus Spencer will be the strong safety. If he's got a clean jersey, you know Johnson is going to have a big day. For Alabama, they want Marcus Spencer to have a dirty jersey.
2nd and goal from the 6. Matkin pulls up. Lofts it to the corner of the end zone. And Prentice fell down.
Now, one thing that Alabama does is when they get in this 4 deep, this zone down here where they call the red zone, and they got 4 down zone, they play tough. They use that back of the end zone as almost another defender. Jackie Sherrill knows that. He says, hey, we've just got to drive it down in there. You can see, look at the red zone in there for Mississippi State. 26 times in there. They've scored 22 of those 26 times.
This was all set up by the return of Kevin Prentice, 52 yards on the opening kickoff. Prentice in motion in the shotgun. Matkin can run, steps up in the pocket. Down to about the 6-inch line. Will they give him a touchdown? No, it'll be a very difficult decision now.
Now, one of the things a mobile quarterback gives you is that ability to run. I wondered almost why he didn't run a little early. Right there. Now, look at the block. He makes a couple people miss.
Now picks up a couple good blocks. Look at Johnson out there trying to get a block for him. And you can see exactly where he came down. See, the official was in great position to make that call, Dave. That was just short. You know what Jackie Sherrill knows? They got to just play smash mouth. Just go after it. You got a big blocker in Dennis McKinley up front. You give it to your hoss, and that's James Johnson. How about a timeout to talk about it?
Terrence McCaskey, the tight end, would call a timeout. Matkin will head over to the sidelines, and Mike DeBose, whose team has been very successful in stopping opponents inside the red zone this year. They dodged a couple of bullets against LSU in that situation. So this team, we talked about it earlier with these guys. Yep. It's nothing that, it's no scheme that they're doing differently. It's just the players' attitudes seem to kind of like buckle up the chin straps, folks. We're getting ready for war.
Well, you see right in the middle of the pile, look right there. That's Mike DeBose. And you saw him in there saying, get penetration, get up in their face. You take a chance in a situation like that. You just drive in there. Everybody sells himself out.
Well, this is certainly an important game for both of these teams. Alabama still mathematically involved in the SEC Western Division race, and certainly Mississippi State, a team that is eyeing a game up in Knoxville today as Arkansas takes on Tennessee. But you can see that Mississippi State has a chance to really make some noise in the West and possibly get to the championship game in Atlanta.
Oh, absolutely. Arkansas's got 3 tough games. Their 3 remaining games, they could have problems in any one of those 3 games, so it's still up. Look with Matkin's going in there. You can see him taking a little bit charge. He's just a freshman. I look for Mississippi State just plow it up there. And look for Alabama because, boy, I'm telling you right now, they can come off the ball hard.
2 tight ends, 2 fullbacks. Johnson is the tailback. The handoff goes to McKinley. And the Alabama defense has done it again. They have stopped an opponent inside the red zone. Unbelievable.
What a turn of events for Alabama. You get down on that 6-inch line, and you saw Mike DeBose in there just saying, listen, everybody get penetration. Watch him come off the ball. Great penetration in the middle. Somebody got down underneath there. It looked like it might have been Kenny Smith. He got great penetration. Left of your screen there. See if you don't see number 88 just sneaking underneath there. Boom, hits him right in the hole. Gosh, that was a great hit. What great penetration.
That makes the 11th time out of 35 trips inside the red zone that Alabama defense has held their opponents without a score. Without a score.
That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible.
Now the pressure on redshirt freshman Andrew Zhao. He's under pressure and lofts it up. Michael Vaughn. And just like that, Alabama out of trouble, 32 yards on the pickup.
Well, you talk about a lame duck. This pass, Andrew Zhao has thrown this ball. Watch the trajectory of this football. When he rolls out of here, he's going to have quarterback pressure by Stevens right in his face, and he just throws the ball up. Now watch, look how high the ball is. Vaughn coming across the field, wide open, number 22, and he just snags it and gets him out of trouble.
So Alabama 1st and 10 at the 33-yard line. And the pitch to Alexander, nowhere to run, cuts it back across the middle. Tried to get outside, and had he been able to break the tackle of Eugene Clinton, he might have had some room to run. Let's take a look at our Nations Bank lineups, the Alabama offense.
Well, we all know about Alexander McClintock and that, but block is really one of the keys. The freshman has responded to replace Michael Vaughn in the starting lineup. And then you go to the offensive line, and Chris Samuels, he's that big drive blocker. He loves that smash mouth, right in your face type of an offensive thrust. We'll watch him a lot, number 60.
3 wide receivers in the game. Vaughn in motion. Zhao to throw, swings it out to the near side. And Alexander couldn't hold on to it. They will throw to Alexander out of numerous formations today, but that Mississippi State defense, I'm sure, under Joe Lee Dunn, ready for anything Alabama has.
Well, they are, and we're going to really focus a lot on Campbell on the outside, number 46. He's a little small, but he makes up it with that great speed and that intensity. They've got a good defensive secondary and linebacker. Stevens replaces Barron Simpson, and then Robert Bean at the corner. Good coverage, man. We're going to watch and see how he tackles today.
3 wideouts in the game. Zhao to throw again. Lofts it up in the air. Can't find his receiver, Quincy Jackson. Robert Bean on the coverage.
Yeah, that's the man we just talked about, Robert Bean, number 13. He's their cornerback that he just plays solid coverage. We don't have to worry about him covering today. When I say that, as we watch this football game, we know that he'll be covering strong, but we're going to watch how hard he comes up and tackles. But Alabama really did themselves a favor, Dave, by that long pass to Prentice, getting them out of trouble. Vaughn, when they passed that crossing pattern, because they would have punted from their own end zone.
Daniel Pope to punt for Georgia, and he is about as good as it gets in the country. A boomer. This is Prentice. Out to the 20, flags everywhere.
Boy, and those flags are back inside the 10-yard line. So that comes back. That's where the foul occurred. It looks like it may be the inadvertent hand in the back or a clip. And that'll put Mississippi State back inside probably their own 5-yard line. Look at them all point. I saw it back there, I saw it back there, and I saw it back there.
That was a 57-yard punt for Daniel Pope. Averaged 48.8 versus Tennessee this year. But here's a look at what transpired.
See right there, that's the hand in the back. That's what you cannot do. If you can read
Foul is an illegal block in the back by the returning team. The penalty will be half the distance to the goal line. First down.
And that is our referee, Doyle Jackson. There is a timeout on the field. We have had some fireworks, but no points. 10:39 to go in the first quarter. Well, looks like that little girl borrowed Dave Rowe's brain suit.
I like it. I like it.
Well, the rain has subsided momentarily. A few sprinkles in the air, but nothing like what was coming down this morning when we got up. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, I didn't even walk this morning. I usually get up and walk. Too wet. Couldn't walk.
Mississippi State stopped on their first drive at the goal line. They come out with 2 tight ends. Hand off to Johnson. Nice gain across the 10. Tony Dixon makes the tackle, the 6'2 sophomore. It's got to be nice to be able to have a guy like James Johnson.
Oh, boy.
In situations like that, pinned up against your own goal line.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. He's just a super person, just a great motivator. I read a lot of bio information about him. He's the kind of player that you want on your team. He's that type of a guy, just a great team player.
He might be accustomed to this weather. Spent a year in the Navy. 3 months out at sea. There's Johnson. He sees some daylight, picks up the first down. Tackled by Dixon again.
And what a good block by Dennis McKinley, number 39 on the outside. He doesn't get many carries. He only has 20 carries compared to Johnson's 170. But the big fullback, number 39, gets outside. You see him out there, right of your screen. Now watch him just make this little block right in here. Bang, just cuts him down, allows that first down yardage to be made.
Gain of 13 gives the Bulldogs a first down at their 23-yard line.
Boy, 6'1", 240, and he can run. That's McKinley. Alabama would love a stop in this situation. Just get that ball down so they can get it back for their offense and give them good field position.
Matkin, play action. 7-step drop under pressure. Can run, doesn't like to, but will have to here. Chased out of bounds by Cornelius Griffin, the junior out of Brundage, Alabama.
Boy, and the big guy runs well. Griffin's one of those 290-pounders. He's playing nose tackle, and he actually catches Matkin from the back. Watch him right in the middle. Now he bails out right here, and watch him slide. He's right there in the middle. Now watch Matkin try to get the outside. Look at the big man. He's going to get a hand on you. You ain't going anywhere with that hand on the back of you.
Griffin had a tremendous game against LSU. Had a career high with 8 tackles. Tied it, actually. Also picked up 8 tackles against Florida. 3 wide receivers in the game. Shotgun formation for the Bulldogs. Matkin in the backfield with James Johnson. Out pattern. A little too far in front of his intended receiver, Matt Butler.
Well, this is going to bring up a big down right here, 3rd down and 10. The one thing that you've got to think about is that coming from the outside, getting that rush on Matkin. Matkin can slide and make you miss. If he gets outside, he can run for the first down. And then you have to think about the ball's wet. You hope your defensive backs don't slide down or slip down. Jackie Sherrill knows anything can happen in a game like this.
Talking to Wayne Matkin yesterday, he only throws the ball about 16, 17 times a game, so he says there's all kinds of pressure for him to be successful on every pass. It's not like Tim Couch that he can throw it 45, 50 times a game.
He's got to make everyone count.
In the shotgun on 3rd and 10, Matkin. That one falls incomplete, intended for Kevin Cooper. And that will bring up 4th down, and Alabama should have good field position.
Yeah, they did what they had to do on defense. Their defense came out, stopped them on about the 22-yard line. They should get the ball back at good field position. That's what you do. In a situation game like this, a lot of times you play field position. You try to get that to your advantage.
Jeff Walker, 4th in the SEC this year in punting. Having a solid season. Back to return, Arvin Richard. 6.3 yards per return, and we'll get nothing on that with a fair catch. And it could be a near fight down on about the 40-yard line.
Well, I wouldn't want to be the one without the helmet.
Miguel Merritt might want to put that helmet back on. A punt of 43 yards. There is 9:25 left to play in the opening quarter from Starkville, Mississippi. We'll be back after a word from your local stations. Welcome back to our Bell South SEC football game of the week on Jefferson Pilot Sports. We are scoreless. 9:25 left to play in the opening quarter, and a big loss for Mississippi State coming into this game because Barron Simpson is a guy that can turn a game around defensively. 2nd on the team in tackles.
Oh, yeah. Big tackler in the middle. Great guy to talk to. We had a lot of fun talking with him in the past. And a lot of pressure on Connor Stevens, number 90, his replacement.
A fumble in the backfield. Mississippi State has recovered it. Flags are down. Cornell Menifee has the football, but a flag is down.
Now, the flags are thrown on the backside. If that's holding, Mississippi State will keep the football.
And that is the case. Marvin Brown, a freshman.
Well, let's see if we can see it right here. It's on the toss. Right there. See, he never even looks up. Yeah, it almost looked as if he thought it was going to be thrown to Sean Alexander. I wondered if Zal perhaps threw to the wrong guy. You see, number 6 is that's Marvin Brown. He looks like he's going out the block for him, Dave.
And it looked the way Zal responded. As soon as he pitched it, he knew it. He wanted to go get it.
Yeah.
There's Mike DeBose talking to his offensive troops, who have now put their defensive troops in a hole. Matkin takes over the Bulldog offense at the 34 of Alabama. Johnson right up the gut, breaks the tackle. Down to the 25.
Well, you measure great backs by the yards after a missed tackle. Travis Smith, number 48, is going to come up and hit James Johnson right on the line of scrimmage. Watch 48 come up here right there. You're going to see it. Bang! Right there, and you see Johnson yards after contact. That's about 8 or 9 yards after contact. So Smith hit him right on the line of scrimmage.
James Johnson, the only back in Mississippi State history to go over 1,000 yards in consecutive seasons. His yards per carry not too bad either.
Oh, 6.1. Wow.
Johnson off the right side. Flag goes down. Travis Smith on the stop for Alabama.
I think that's going to be holding against Mississippi State. If it is, it's going to make Jackie Sherrill upset. Let's see what we see. Yes, holding. And it's going to go against Mississippi State. Looked like the tight end perhaps was holding on that play. It's a good bunch of officials, real good bunch of officials.
Headed up by referee Doyle Jackson, our umpire Ted Davis, linesman Gus Morris, your field judge and line judge and side judge Eddie Powers, Al Matthews, Gerald Hodges, and our back judge Mike New. But there is Doyle Jackson waiting to make the call.
You see the guy right there talking to Doyle Jackson? That's Ted Davis. He used to be a linebacker with New Orleans Saints. I played with him. Veterinarian now and does SEC officiating. Great friend.
Foul is holding by the offense. The penalty will be 10 yards. It will follow the foul, followed by second down.
Stay tuned at halftime for our Bell South You Call the Play feature. A look at a big call from SEC games from the past.
Boy, Dave, you think about that play right there. It was going to be first down on about the 22, 23-yard line. Now it's second down. They're back at around the 35-yard line. That was a huge penalty.
Just about 11 yards to go to pick up the first down. Matkin under pressure, dodges a couple of guys, fumbles the football, it's on the ground, nobody has it. Alabama comes up with Travis Smith recovering the football, and just like that, Alabama back in business.
Well, I didn't even see Wayne Matkin get hit. You think about a football in this, it's wet. It slides along, you've got to squeeze the ball, you've got to protect it. Let's see if he in fact gets hit. Right here, he makes a good move to the outside. Oh, he bumps into his own man. He may have bumped into Anthony Cap. That may be why the ball came out, when he bumped into the back of Anthony Cap trying to get around the outside. Watch it again. You see Cap right there, 78. Okay, bumps into him. And Alabama turns the football. They get it back in great field position.
And you know, had he just held on to the football.
Oh, there's that stack eye.
Kevin Cooper was wide open. Zhao back to throw. Has Michael Vaughn at the 42, and a first down for the Crimson Tide. Bean on the coverage. A gain of 18.
Boy, you know Michael Vaughn's got to feel good about this. He's been replaced by Eric Locke in the starting lineup. Locke's the freshman's got a lot of talent. Vaughn, the junior, that's got the deep threat, and he's caught two huge passes. Both of them crossing patterns. Really looked that ball in perfectly.
Last week against LSU, Andrew Zhao was the story, specifically in the second half. He finished the day with 284 yards and 3 touchdowns, and the SEC Player of the Week.
No interceptions, too.
Flags are down. False start against the Crimson Tide.
Boy, you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot when you get in this situation. You've got the ball, you've moved it downfield, pretty good field position, and then you get a false start, and you back yourself up, and it changes your whole offensive philosophy. Dead ball, offside. Oh, it was the defense that jumped into the neutral zone. Hey, that's an interesting one.
Foul is a dead ball, offsides by the defense. The penalty will be 5 yards from the previous spot, still first down.
Let's check in on the sidelines with Warren Pepper.
Yeah, Dave, I'll tell you real quickly here as we get ready to watch this 1st and 5. Come back to me if you want after this play, and I'll tell you something about playing in wet conditions.
Zhao back to throw over the middle. Flags abound everywhere. Calvin Hall was the intended receiver.
I think that's going to be pass interference, but what a catch almost by Calvin Hall. Defender running with him just stride for stride, right in his face, and it looked like Calvin Hall almost pulled out a miracle catch there. The defense is going to be defensive interference that's going to move the football down. Look at the number of people up in the line. You see that Mississippi State puts a lot of people up trying to get pressure on Zhao. There you'll see 83. Watch Calvin Hall running the inside, and look at this. He almost pulls this catch out one-handed back inside. Now you see the right arm of the defender. That arm was riding along. That's Eugene Clinton, the strong safety. It was running along the arm, the backside of Calvin Hall. He had it up on his back.
We'll check in with Warren in a moment as Alabama continues to get to the line of scrimmage in a hurry. First down and 10 from just outside the 20. The I formation. The handoff to Alexander. Runs right into the heart of that Mississippi State defense and only picks up a couple of yards. Let's check in with Warren.
Yeah, Dave, both teams have kind of known that it was going to be a little yucky here today. On Thursday, Jackie Sherrill turned the sprinklers on in practice. Not so much for a footing problem. This field does drain so well. But he wanted his guys that are handling the ball to know what a wet ball can be like, and that's some of what he tried to do to prepare them for this day.
Alabama had some rain early in the week in Tuscaloosa and had to move their practice indoors.
Don't think these coaches don't watch the Weather Channel.
Vaughn in motion. Zhao out of the shotgun across the middle. He's got Jackson. Only picks up a couple, however. And that'll bring up a third down.
Boy, Mississippi State reacts to the football so well. That time they get Quincy Jackson on a slash pattern, cross just a straight 5 yard, just cross us as hard as he can. You saw Campbell pick him up on the outside, bang, bring him down. That's tough coverage.
really a battle of formations today. Joe Lee going with what he termed a 4-2-5 defense against Alabama. But Alabama has come out and shown us numerous formations already today in the first quarter, really in the first 7-8 minutes of this game.
Big down here, 3rd down, 5 yards. Look at the number of guys up on the line. Here comes Mississippi State.
4 wide receivers. Zhao has his man. Alexander breaks a tackle down to the 5-yard line, and a big first down for the Crimson Tide.
Boy, great read by Andrew Zhao that time. You knew that Mississippi State was going to come. They bring a lot of pressure in the young freshman's face. Watch this. Zhao, number 5, standing back there. Look at the number of maroon shirts that are up in his face. You can see him right there. And he just dumps the ball off casually, just finds him out in the flat. Great pressure there. Stevens, number 90. Look at Alexander as a receiver. You know, everybody looks at him as a rushing back, but he's an excellent receiver.
The last 4 games, he has picked up 203 yards receiving. Alabama has won 4 of their last 5. Alexander keeps it on the ground and gets hammered by the Mississippi State front. Edward Smith steps up along with Larry Campbell to make the hit for the Bulldogs.
And you know who really made that play? Kentucky Jones, number 3, the outside corner. Watch him just turn it back inside. There's where all his help is. You see all the shirts coming up in there. You see number 3. He's just fighting out there, just trying to keep that ball inside. This is a big down right now because they have to stop him. They want to hold him to a field goal try. Look at Mississippi State. See if they don't come with a lot more pressure. And look at Zhao looking up there at Vaughn, number 22, at the top of your screen.
Handoff right up the middle to Alexander. Only gets about a yard, and Smith on the stop again.
Well, Joe Lee Dunn is really an interesting defensive coach because Joe Lee Dunn says, all I want guys that want to tackle. I want them fast, but I want guys that play with intensity. He loves putting pressure on. You'll see him. There's the defensive signal. It looks like it's going to be up the middle. Watch, you'll see him. He'll bring his hand down, signal. There it is. There's the defense. He signals it in. And watch and see if they don't bring outside edge pressure. They usually love the pressure in this situation. Make you make that quick decision, Dave.
In Mississippi State 4th in the Southeastern Conference in total D, giving up just over 300 yards a game. Zhao rolls to the right, looking in the end zone. It'll be intercepted and a touchback by Robert Bean, the junior out of Decatur, Georgia.
What a play by Robert Bean. We talked earlier about his coverage. They know that he's an outstanding cornerback, but I wondered if the receiver just didn't turn the wrong way. It's that stack eye. And let's see, in fact, if they threw the football behind. Look at Bean. He's in the back of the end zone. You see the ball coming in there? He's playing the ball. That ball was going to go to Quincy Jackson.
A huge turnover by Alabama. Back in a moment. Alabama had a chance to strike the Mississippi State, and Robert Bean came up with a huge interception in the end zone. And the Bulldog faithful at Scott Field enjoying that defensive stand by Joe Lee Dunn's group. And you notice Joe Lee is focused today.
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you, he's usually really laid back and relaxed on the sideline. When I saw him turn and walk that sideline, let me tell you something, that's Mr. Intensity today.
1st and 10 from the 20. Matkin, just 1 of 4 so far, goes up top, loves to throw the deep ball. Nearly caught, flags are down, however, at the 44-yard line.
Now, who's the penalty on? Did Kevin Love push off, or was he interfered with by Tony Dixon, number 24?
Well, that's the pass that Matkin loves to throw. And that'll go against Alabama.
So it's going to go against Tony Dixon, number 24, in the slot. Watch him when he comes over right here. You see him dropping right there? Oh, maybe it wasn't Dixon. It was 23. It was Miles, excuse me. It was Miles, number 23. The freshman out there in the coverage right there. You see the little bump? And you remember the loss of Kevin Sigler, the strong safety, who was having an outstanding year.
This secondary, Dave, throws up a lot of youthfulness. The only guy with any real game experience happens to be Fernando Bryant.
Exactly. They don't challenge Fernando Bryant.
Down in Gainesville, the Gators on top of South Carolina in the first quarter. 10-zip there. The Gators continue to roll along, ranked number 4. The handoff to Johnson. Johnson picks up a couple of yards.
You know, Dave, when we were doing our preps and getting ready for this, we kept on saying, well, who's the advantage go to? Who's the advantage? Well, Alabama can do this. Well, Mississippi State can do this. We just expect a tough football game. And it's going to be played up front. The big men up front, you see Carter there, they're going to play the game. It's going to be smash mouth. Let them have it. They're going to be coming after you. And it's going to be at the end of the game, everybody's going to turn, look up the clock and say, okay, who won?
Mike DeBoe's concerned about the physicalness of this Mississippi State team. Said his guys had to come up with ways to get some leverage and use their quickness against this Bulldog front offensive line that averages well over 290 pounds. There's the pitch to Johnson. Hurdles his own player and gets it out over the 45.
Tackle by Spencer.
Boy, and you know, we talk about that offensive line, and we talked earlier about Randy Thomas, number 77. He's 300 pounds. And then you got Anthony Kapp out there. He's 325. Eric Allen, look at these guys. You see, Jackie always has those big offensive lines. Remember 94? That was when they had...
That's when you played here.
No. They had Kendall Watkins, the tight end. And Kendall Watkins was a 300-pound tight end, so that helped the average a little bit.
Johnson with his 9th carry picks up a couple of more yards on first down. Griffin on the stop for Alabama.
Boy, that was good penetration by the nose tackle. I can tell you what, that's number 97, Cornelius Griffin, in there. Getting down, getting around that center block, squaring up in the hole and sliding in there. He moves well to the football. He's got to have a big day today. He was our feature player. We talked about him earlier running down. Did a nice job that time. When you get around that center block, and boy, he's playing against a great one in Eric Allen for Mississippi State, but when Griffin got around him, he squared up, got in the hole, and brought down the running back for about a yard gain.
Griffin had a great week of practice for the Crimson Tide. And showing today, Johnson nowhere to go, and Alabama defense all over the football right now. Moorhead on the stop.
Well, one of the things that Alabama defense is doing, as I watch Jamie Carter in there, number 90, is they're slashing through. They're not trying to take them man-on-man. They're slashing through the gaps.
Let's check in with Warren Pepper down on the sidelines.
Yeah, Dave, just in the last series, Mississippi State running back James Johnson has a cut on his left hand. You'll notice the bandage on his left hand. He predominantly right-handed, though, as they run that right side. But just keep that in mind. They did put him back in. He's good to go.
5 defensive backs in the game, 3 wide receivers for Mississippi State in the shotgun on 3rd and 7. Matkin across the middle, got his receiver. Kelvin Love with a big reception. Marcus Spencer on the coverage, and that's a first down for the Bulldogs, a gain of 14.
Boy, Matkin, the freshman, has to be happy with that, because when he threw that ball in a crossing pattern, he was thrown into traffic. He just delivered a strike right to the middle. Watch Matkin, number 9, not under a lot of pressure, a little from the outside. Good pickup there by his line. Now you're going to see the crossing pattern. Look at the traffic right in the middle. Catches him right in stride. Bang, right to Love. Nice location of the football, right exactly where you want it. You don't want them going up high.
1st and 10. There's Johnson. Looks like Alabama is clued in to James Johnson on this series. That's Marcus Spencer on the stop out of York, Alabama, the sophomore.
You're going to see a lot of slashing inside, getting in that line, trying to get penetration, trying to make Johnson miss back there, trying to make him avoid running the tacklers.
Next week on Jefferson Pilot's Bell South, game of the week, you will either see Kentucky versus Tennessee or Arkansas versus Mississippi State. You will see one of those games next Saturday, November 21st, and I really don't think you're a loser no matter what game you get in that situation.
No, those are 2 great games.
Matkin up top. Prentice in the end zone, and he had Bryant turned all the way around inside the end zone, and the flag is down.
Now, you talk about penalties. This is actually a good penalty, because Fernando Bryant was lost on the play. He lost the coverage on the play, and he comes back and interferes, and it's just going to be a 10-yard penalty instead of being a touchdown. This very easily could have been a touchdown. When Prentice runs what they call a post corner, watch him come to the inside, and then bang, right in here, back out to the outside. Look, right there, you see Bryant's lost. He even tries to grab him. Now, the only thing he knows to do is interfere, and that's only a 10-yard interception. You know, it's not a big interference, though. Watch this. I wondered if he touched him. You can't face guard. Yeah, he bumps him there on the right hand.
It's football, Dave. There's going to be some contact. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's not face guarding because you can't face guard, but he did have some incidental contact there. What a recovery by Bryant to get back there and not allow the touchdown.
Play action. Matkin rolling to his left, throwing across his body in the end zone, nearly picked off. And another flag is down just outside the goal line. Pass intended for Reggie Kelly. Steve Stanley knocked it away.
I wondered if that was a pick because I saw one of the receivers run down and bump into one of the defensive backs. We'll have to wait. I don't want to guess on this, but let's see what the call is. Holding on the defense.
Well, Alabama self-destructing here. Late in the first quarter with just 7 ticks on the clock. But we saw Mississippi State going to Reggie Kelly, the tight end, a guy who's had back-to-back big games against this Alabama team.
Foul was holding by the defense during a pass play. The penalty is 10 yards or half the distance from the previous spot, followed by first down.
All right, we're going to see to the right of your screen. Look right down here at the bottom. That may be the hold right there. You see him pull on the jersey? That might have been the hold. I don't know. It could have been. That's about the area where the flag was thrown.
But here we go again. Alabama's defense will have to step it up inside the red zone. Mississippi State has been here before, and Alabama kept them out. Another flag is down. Could be a face mask.
I'm wondering if it's an offensive face mask. Did James Johnson give him the stiff arm up in the mask?
Marcus Spencer.
Or did he use it as, he used it as a tackling. It's going to be defensive face mask. Gosh, these penalties are going back and forth. Let's take a look at James Johnson as he comes out here to the flat. See, when he gives a stiff arm, he gives it right there in the shoulder. Well, that's in the face mask, and that's in the face mask. That's inadvertent face mask where the hand is just put over top of the mask.
Marcus Spencer also grabbed some iron on James Johnson, but that is the end of the first quarter. We have gone back and forth, but nobody has put it in the end zone yet. Second quarter action coming your way after this. Alabama and Mississippi State scoreless, but the Bulldogs knocking on that end zone door. First and goal from the 2. But the Crimson Tide stopped Mississippi State early in the first quarter in the same situation.
Well, don't think that Mississippi State didn't have a soul searching in that huddle during that timeout. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we don't see him just run right up the gut. Nothing fancy, just plow it in there, see if you can score. Big man on big man.
2 tight ends. Johnson, your tailback. The handoff right up the gut, up and over. Touchdown, Bulldogs. They're on the board first behind James Johnson.
We talked about them being a right-handed team, and they run so much behind Randy Thomas, number 77, and Anthony Capp, number 78. Drive them off the line. You see the big men, top of your screen. Johnson sees that little seam, goes high, and falls over top.
The 9th touchdown on the year by James Johnson.
Boy, and a good block in there by Eric Allen, number 53. He got through and got to the backer. That's just good, solid football. That's what you want to do.
Hazelwood in to attempt a point after. Missed one last week against Kentucky, but knocked that straight through the uprights, and James Johnson puts Mississippi State on top. Just 4 seconds have ticked off the clock here in the second quarter. Bulldogs lead at 7-0 at Mississippi State. Well, certainly used James Johnson the past 2 seasons very successfully. In the first quarter, he has been very, very dominant. And today, he's right at that number.
Oh, yeah. Just keeps on running. He gets stronger as the game goes along. He loves to run deep into the game. Just a super story. He came from a kind of a, not a real wealthy background. Said he used to get teased. But, boy, when he played football, he said, nobody could tease me because I was better than everybody else.
He is very focused. Asked him about NFL, thoughts of the NFL. And basically, my man just wants to play football.
Yeah. Oh, boy, and he had a great preseason talk to his teammates. He said, this year, this is our year. We're going to lock it down and go after it. And they are. Well, big series here for Alabama. They need to answer the call. They need to get some points on their offense. They need to get back into their offensive flow. They use so much of that wide open offense, and with no rain, really not a hard rain, they may be able to get one of those matchups on the outsides with their wide receivers.
Jeff Walker to kick off. It's a short kick. Millens out across the 30-yard line, and a nice return. Harold Lindsey on the stop. Return of 20. Our nationwide insurance scholar athlete of the week is tight end Trey Pennington of the University of South Carolina. The junior from Anderson, South Carolina, has a 2.91 GPA in sports administration. Congratulations to Trey Pennington, our nationwide insurance scholar athlete of the week. And South Carolina has their hands full today down in Gainesville, taking on the 4th-ranked Gators. Trailing 10-0 was our last report.
I think Alabama might have to call timeout right here. They've got Marvin Brown, number 6, out there, and they had McClintock, so they had 2 fullbacks.
Some confusion from Mike DuBose's team, trailing by 7. Back with our Bell South Game of the Week in a moment. We are back. Alabama and Mississippi State Bulldogs lead at 7-0 in the opening moments of the 2nd quarter.
You saw that picture on that board there. That was Tennessee going up against Alabama, so they were showing what Tennessee did against Alabama and the way Alabama's defense lined up.
Handoff, Montoya Madden. Here's a look at our Duckhead first quarter stats, and it was basically dominated in the rushing department by Mississippi State. Sean Alexander having a very slow afternoon. 4 carries, just 1 yard.
And look at those 2 turnovers, by Alabama. 2 big turnovers, 1 huge turnover by Mississippi State. So that's kind of balanced out a little bit. Alabama, they just need to get into their offensive flow.
Now 4 of 7 in the first quarter. There's that movement in the offensive backfield for Alabama with 4-5 wide receivers in the game, no backs. Andrew Zhao can't get out of the arms of Alvin McKinley.
Well, McKinley just burst through the line. And I wondered, did Zhao get hurt on the play because he was late getting up? You see him kind of getting up there and not moving that left arm a whole lot. I want to watch McKinley, number 97, just burst right through. Nobody blocks him. Now he's got him, and he isn't going to let go. Look at him. He's still holding on. And again, look at you see right there, 97? Nobody. And there was no back to pick up that blitz. Mississippi State came in with that middle blitz, and I wondered if Sal kind of got hurt that time. He's back up bouncing around a little bit.
Alabama has shown some strange formations this year. That was one of them with 5 wide receivers, no running backs, nobody at home to block for Zhao. Now Zhao has to go out of the shotgun, and he goes up top. Nearly picked off by Bean.
Well, what happens to quarterbacks is that they kind of have a little tendency to kind of get a little shell shock. And I think that time on that last series, Zhao got a little shell shock. He was going to go deep trying to find Millens back there. He just couldn't find him in the center. But Mississippi State, again, putting a lot of pressure on Alabama, a lot of different fronts. Those Joe Lee Dunn defenses having an effect on Andrew Zhao.
Had an effect on his shoulder. Walked off the field, holding his left shoulder. Kevin Prentice back to return the punt. And Daniel Pope, flags everywhere, movement abound.
Now, did the defense draw the offense off? I think Zhao got hurt. I really do. When he got that tackle, you see the way he's walking? I think he got hurt. I thought when he got up kind of slow, but he kind of tried to shake it off. I wondered if he hurt his shoulder or not. Dead ball defense jumping into the neutral zone, so that's going to give him 5 yards. And boy, you know who could really have a big factor in this game, Dave? Pope, the punter.
John David Phillips.
That was a dead ball, offsides by the defense. The penalty will be 5 yards from the previous spot, still 4th down.
Loosen up over there on the Alabama sideline, but there is John David Phillips, the starter at the beginning of this year. Actually had a pretty decent game against BYU, but just couldn't move this offense, and they had to make a change, and they went to Zhao.
Well, he's not a real mobile quarterback like Andrew Zhao, but a great competitor. 6-year senior, stayed here, and just gave this team a lot.
Another tremendous kick by Daniel Pope, who had a 60-yarder, and another flag is down.
Now, this flag is about 10, 15 yards away from where the catch is. It had to be something on going downfield, away from the football. They're pointing back there at Mississippi State. Well, that was a boomer, that kick, wasn't it? Hand in the back.
Another 45-yard kick for Daniel Pope. Leads the SEC in that department.
That was an illegal block in the back by the returning team. The penalty will be 10 yards from the end of the kick, first down.
Boy, that makes a 45 punt. That makes it a 60-yard punt.
That would be 2 of those today for Mr. Pope. Mike DuBose's club trails by 7, but they have the Bulldogs in a hole. Back after a word from your local station. Mississippi State leads 7-0. Let's check in with Warren on the Alabama sidelines.
Well, I'll tell you, Dave, Zal's got a bruised left shoulder. They sat him down, kind of let him describe all the problems that he felt underneath his pads. Then they got him back up. He threw 3 or 4 balls, and he will go back in. But he is wincing. You see him grimacing with almost every throw.
Well, Dave, it's not his throwing shoulder.
But it still affects you, Dave, because it's your balance shoulder. It's the one that, when you throw a ball, you always lift that left shoulder on your delivery to get that forward momentum.
James Johnson with a huge hole out to the 30-yard line. A gain of 15 for Johnson, who continues to chew up the turf.
Boy, and Randy Thomas, number 77, gets a great block on the outside. Watch him come across. He's pulling right there. Number 88, he blocks Kenny Smith. You see Johnson just make that turn. And you see there also, you see McKinley, number 39. When they run this football, James Johnson just allows them to set him up. You see him just bounce up, put the ball down, jog back to the huddle. Boy, that was 2 great blocks. Fullback and the guard.
Johnson well on his way to a 100-yard afternoon with 68 yards rushing so far. Matkin's pass a little bit behind his tight end, Reggie Kelly, who gets popped. Tony Dixon.
You see Reggie Kelly's a little bit late to get up. Kind of got hit in those short ribs. It kind of takes the breath out of you. Strong safety, Tony Dixon, coming over there, just hitting him.
He looked back at the quarterback, trying to find Matkin, saying, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, don't throw it behind me. Throw it in front of me where I can see those guys coming.
Wayne said that he has had to learn how to kind of take charge. He's, dealing with a lot of upperclassmen, and him being a redshirt freshman, it's taken him a while to get in the mold to where he could kind of run this offense. Hand off to Johnson, working the left side. He gets stood up just outside the 30. Tackle made by Canary Knight out of Tallahassee, Florida, a junior.
Well, I was watching Kenny Smith, number 88 that time for Alabama. He cuts inside that time. Johnson makes the perfect cut, goes right around him, slides to the outside. They're really working against Kenny Smith, making him perform. He's a good defensive end. If he takes the inside, they make that adjustment. Johnson cuts to the outside. If he goes outside, Johnson's been cutting to the inside. They need to slide and get Travis Carroll, their middle linebacker, over there a little bit more into that hole.
Averaging 4.8 yards per carry. That's 1.2 yards shy of his season average. 4.8 isn't bad. Matkin under pressure, has to unload it. Got Prentice. They say he caught it on the far side, and a first down on 3rd and 7. What a big catch, a gain of 10.
Boy, you talk about quarterback pressure coming right up the gut on you, and Matkin just comes out of that pocket, and watch this throw on the run. Watch the white shirts coming after him. You see on the outside 24, that's Tony Dixon. They're going to run him down. Look at Matkin throw this, and watch Prentice. 1 foot down, that's all you need. Right there's the catch. You see the foot in right there? Perfect catch.
That is really, really nice by Kevin Prentice. Talked to Lynn Amity. He says he would love to get Prentice the football more, but just not in their offensive scheme. Is it to get him the football as many times as they need? But obviously right there you see the kind of talent that young man has. In the eye. The pitch to Johnson off the right side. It's about 4, maybe 5 yards before he's finally brought down by Cornelius Griffin.
Well, Alabama's going to have to make a little Titan spot in here. They're going to have to come up inside and get a little bit more pressure and force James Johnson to run east and west. Don't allow him to run to the edge where he can cut upfield. And you see Mike DuBose right there? He's saying, make a stand right now. Get your heart into it. That's what he's telling his defense. He's called on them a lot this year, and they've responded well for him. They've been on the field a long time, though.
It's kind of a shock. Mississippi State's longest scoring drive this year has been like 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So they're not a team that really holds on to the football. Matter of fact, they're last in the SEC in time of possession. Matkin in trouble, dodges, has Johnson wide open. Nobody on the far side of the field. Inside the 30 down to the 19-yard line. Tony Dixon runs him out. A gain of 34. Give the credit to Matkin on that one.
It's all Matkin because you've got Knight coming on the outside on a blitz. Everybody coming after him, and watch what he does. He ad-libs. Look at the pressure coming to the outside. They got him, right? No way. Watch this. Boom. Now get out there. And now look downfield. Find somebody. Look at a little jump there. And he dumps the ball off. He's got Johnson wide open there. That play was designed to go to the other side of the field. And he turns a broken play into a 37-yard gain.
Matkin over 100 yards today on just 4 completions. And Johnson stopped for a big-time loss. Kenny Smith.
Well, that's the man we had focused on earlier, number 88. This time he meets the guard in the hole. It's a trap. Watch the left guard, Craig Moore, pull out, bang, hit him. You see that right there? Kenny Smith just holds his position and forces Johnson down. That's a great play by Kenny Johnson. He's one of those players that Mike DuBose is called upon saying, answer the call, boys.
Update from Gainesville, 17-7. South Carolina got on the board. Florida scored moments ago to make it a 10-point football game in the second quarter. But Kenny Smith is a guy, you talk to Alabama folks, he's a guy that can dominate the line of scrimmage for Alabama. DeCenzo Miller in the game for James Johnson. Matkin goes up top looking for Prentice. Covered by Bryant, but a flag down inside the 10. Bryant shaking his head in disgust.
Well, the flag was thrown way early before the break. You see Fernando Bryant walk away. He's the best corner that they have one-on-one. And we're going to see a hold.
That is the matchup Lynn Amity wanted. He wanted Prentice on Bryant. He felt he had the advantage there, and we've seen it today. And Bryant's had 2 pass interference calls against him.
Well, the official in great position to make that call. He's right in the corner of the end zone. He's looking at it, he's coming right towards him. Look at the number of penalties right there. And you can see Mike DuBose is upset about it. See, he felt that Bryant jammed him on the line, but the penalty was thrown way before the throw.
First and 10. James Johnson back in the game in a big way. He gets about 6 yards inside the 10. Tackle made by Tito Smith, the senior out of Birmingham.
Again, just power football, just bring them. You see 65 leading in there. That's Craig Moore, the off guard. They just run through there. They rumble you down there. They're getting big blocks, driving downfield. This is when Mississippi State, when they get ahead of you, boy, they can put pressure on you.
Mississippi State gets ahead of you. It's been impossible this year to beat them. They are perfect 4-0. The 9th play on this drive started at Mississippi State's own 12-yard line. Johnson tried to get out of the grasp of Tito Smith, but Tito got in the backfield and caused some problems.
Boy, and a nice play there by Kendall Moorhead, number 54, the outside end. Stuffing the guard, making Johnson go to the outside. They got time to react. If you don't make that play go to the outside and you allow Johnson to turn up, then he just slashes through there and makes those yards.
Moorhead's a guy that has made the most of his tackle. He has 23 total tackles, and 9 of those are behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. And 4 sacks to go along with it, so he's very, very active.
6'2", 290 out of Memphis. 3rd down and 4. The option. Matkin turns it inside.
Boy, really close.
Very close to a first down. He had to get to just a fraction beyond the 4. Tackle made by Tony Dixon.
Well, if you're a defense, you've got to make him toss the football. When Matkin comes along the line, it looks like he had no decision to toss that football. Boy, the mark. Now watch this. Right along the line, he's going to run all the way. You got to make him toss it there. If you're going to come underneath, you got to get it. Now look where the ball was spotted. The official comes in and spots the ball. It's going to be awfully close. I think he's short, yeah. Looks like he's short. Now, if you're Jackie's,
If you're Jackie Sherrill, do you go for the field goal? I think he just said, yeah, you remember the kicking problems you had last week, Dave?
2 missed field goals, a missed point after, and a timeout by Jackie Sherrill. Don't think about this. They had this situation in the first quarter and got stopped by Alabama.
Of course, there's Hazelwood. He's the one that missed those 2 field goals last week, and he's an extremely just accurate kicker. Just had one of those days where it just didn't go his way.
Jackie Sherrill will think about it. It's 4th and 1. Jackie Sherrill has decided to go for it, or at least it appears that way, on 4th and 1. And that is how far they have to go. Earlier in the game, they went to the fullback, Dennis McKinley, and were stopped on the 2-inch line and turned it over on downs.
Watch the hard count here. Matkin can come out and do that.
2 tights, Reggie Kelly, Terrence McCaskey. Johnson is your tailback.
Yep, there's the hard count. Oh, that's interesting. They had the hard count. They had him, then he didn't snap the ball. Eric Allen didn't snap the ball. Oh, Eric Allen had him. He had him in the neutral zone. All he had to do was snap the ball. Yeah, and you can see Eric Allen tapping, saying, my fault, my fault. He had him. They got the jump they wanted.
And that is one of the more intelligent football players on this Mississippi State football team.
See right there, snap the ball right now. He didn't snap it. They got the hard count. They got exactly what they want. And Eric Allen said, oh, man, if I could only do that one over again. He's in an MBA program. He's an outstanding student, too.
It's a shame we have to spotlight him in that situation.
I know.
But that means that Mississippi State will go for the field goal, and Brian Hazelwood will step on and have the honors. 8 of 15 this year. 3rd all-time on Mississippi State's scoring list with 188 points. But he has missed 5 of his last 8 attempts.
When Dave, Jackie Sherrill really prides himself on the kicking game. And he said he saw a mistake by Hazelwood where he was bringing his foot across his body instead of following through. And they think they've made that correction. This is almost like it's a confidence one for Hazelwood. Let him get back on stride because they're going to need his leg.
21-yarder from the left hash mark is up, and it's good. And that will be a confidence boost for Mr. Hazelwood and the Mississippi State Bulldogs as they extend their lead to 10-0 over Alabama with 7:59 to go in the second quarter. But a solid drive by the Bulldogs that started at their own 12-yard line.
Yeah, that was an incredible drive. They controlled the clock. They controlled the run. They were able to move the football at will. And for Mike DeBose, you see the intensity in his eyes. He knows that they've got to get something started on offense. They've got to be able to move the football, get some first downs.
Well, it has been quite a chore lately for Mr. Brian Hazelwood as he had a tough game last Saturday against Kentucky. He hit the goalpost and missed an extra point. And then he proceeded to miss 2 field goals from 36 and then one from 47, both hooked to the left. The senior ended the night hitting 1 of 3. And guess what? The Bulldogs lost 37-35. But Jackie said yesterday that he's just having one of these funks, and I am not going to make decisions based on what he has done the past few weeks.
Well, that's what I said. He saw a little flaw in his kicking style, and Jackie Sherrill's an outstanding coach when it comes to special teams. He really feels that's an important part of the game, and they feel that they've corrected it. And like I said, that's just a confidence booster there. That's saying to Hazelwood, hey, I've got some confidence in you.
Arvin Richards, Freddie Millens, back to receive the kick of Jeff Walker.
Big series here for Alabama. They got to get it started.
Here comes Millen off the left side. He's got speed. Millen's out of Starkville with a 39-yard return. A new source for sports on the internet. JPSports.com is now online. Each week we will bring you previews of our upcoming telecast and in-depth coverage of the FCC. For the inside scoop, log on to JPSports.com. And Andrew Zhao is back under center. Throws. Millens trying to get him out for a quick hit. Mississippi State all over it with two defenders led by Tim Nelson and Kendall Robertson.
Well, Tim Nelson is one of those dogs. That's what they call his position. It's more like a linebacker than it is a defensive back.
Take a look at Alabama's possessions.
Boy, you can see there's not been a whole lot. Look at the number of plays. 3, 1, 7 is their long drive, and they threw the interception, and then only 3 and a punt. So they've got to be able to control and put some first downs.
Just about everybody up on the line of scrimmage for Mississippi State. Zhou's pass nearly picked off. Oh, that would have been a backbreaker. Anthony Derricks.
Boy, Derricks is the strong safety, and he just plays it really well. He gets his hand out about another 3 or 4 inches. He comes away with this football. That's going to go to Calvin Hall right there in the out. Look at him right there. Boy, that ball's not overthrown. Down the sideline with Anthony Derricks. Big down here. When you hear the crowd get into this one.
3rd and 11. Vaughn in motion. Pressure up the gut. Looking for that slip screen. And Millens and Alexander almost in the same spot.
Yeah, and I think Hilliard might have got a hand on the ball. I wondered if Hilliard hit the ball. Number 95 was jumping around. They were going to try to throw that underneath screen, and listen to this crowd respond. They know the importance of this game. Watch 95 left of your screen right there. He slips out. Now see right there, look at that big hand get up there. Perfect play by the defensive tackle.
Alexander looked like he was playing the blocking role in that situation, and it was his guy who tipped the pass. And another booming kick by Pope. That sends Prentice inside his own 15. Tries to get to the outside, but great coverage by the Crimson Tide. Miguel Merritt down on the stop along with Steve Stanley. 47-yard kick, a 5-yard return. And a flag down at about the 22-yard line. Kind of snuck up on me.
Yeah, that flag is thrown right where the tackle was. They're called personal foul against Alabama. Wow. Might be a late hit or something along that line. But that personal foul, and it showed us it was a dead ball foul. So in other words, it happened after the play.
Dead ball, personal foul by the kicking team. The penalty will be 15 yards from the dead ball spot. First down.
You can see Mike DeVos there, always coaching, talking to his players, telling them exactly what he wants. But that's a huge play. Instead of having them inside the 20, now they've got it out at the 35-yard line.
You do not want to shorten the field with James Johnson in the backfield, and that is what Alabama has done.
Well, that was a big play up front. Number 97, McKinley.
Cornelius Griffin.
Excuse me, that was Cornelius Griffin, I should say, 97. Griffin playing that nose tackle, I can tell you, that's a fun spot. Hit into that center slide along there. We talked about Griffin having to have a big day. He is. He's been in a lot of plays. 5 tackles so far.
Alabama preached all week their defensive front has to be physical. Have you seen that today from Davis?
Yeah, I have. I've really seen them playing physical there. They're banged up, they're nicked, but they're playing hard. Alabama has come to play football.
Johnson slips outside. One man to beat. It was Marcus Spencer who cut him down at the knees, but a big gain of 21 for James.
Got to turn it back in, and Dennis McKinley, we've talked about him before, number 39, gets a block on the outside on number 1, Chris Horn. Watch 39 right there. You're going to see him right here. Bang, kick him outside. You see him, boom, right inside. It's on Fernando Bryant, number 25, and that's what sprung Johnson to the outside. Right here, there's the block right there. Look at McKinley. Bang, just kick him right outside. That allows Johnson. Johnson just plays perfect off those blocks.
James Johnson has carried the ball over 20 times here in the first half. Right up the gut. DeCenzo Miller checks in for James Johnson, and he might go, but he's knocked out of bounds at about the 7-yard line by Tony Dixon. A gain of 39 yards.
Boy, you talk about explosion. Watch DeCenzo Miller explode through the hole. He sees the hole, and he just, pow, he's right through it. Watch how quickly he gets into the line. Now, right there, he sees the hole. Now, get to the outside. Pick up a couple of those blockers. You can see a good block there by number 8, Kevin Love. He's got a good block, and now Miller just turns it on. So if it ain't Johnson, it's Miller.
Miller, a freshman. came in with over 200 yards rushing on 35 carries and has scored 1 TD. Didn't miss a beat without James Johnson. The Bulldogs are in business one more time. They lead it by 10 over Alabama, looking for their 3rd straight win over the Crimson Tide. And Dave, you got to go back to 1914.
Wow.
Since the last time that happened.
That's a long way back. Boy, they played well. They have really run the football well. See Thomas there, number 77. He's quite a story in himself. Big eater. Said he ate 21 pieces of chicken one time.
Closed down Chinese restaurants from here to Tuscaloosa.
I hate guys like that. They can eat and don't gain any weight. Said he has a hard time keeping his 300 pounds.
Well, they got some big ones up in Knoxville, and a big game today as Arkansas invades number 1 versus number 10 Florida. Last we checked, up by 10 on South Carolina. Georgia checks in at number 17. But Tennessee and Arkansas has finally proven that they are for real.
Yeah, they really have. Everybody, they made believers out of me last week. I can promise you that. And don't think this Mississippi State team isn't gearing towards. I know that their coaching staff has said, don't look ahead to next week, but I can promise you they're looking ahead to next week.
Well, the scenario is if Tennessee beats Arkansas, which if you go by the ranking should happen, then Mississippi State has the destiny in their own hands. Arkansas comes here and but Mississippi State had the opportunity last year and lost their last 2 football games and missed out on a chance.
Look at the hurry-up play. Alabama was on the sideline. They ran up. Mississippi State tried to hurry the play real fast. Doesn't pay off.
1st and goal from the 7. They handed off to Rod Gibson, the junior out of Greenwood, Mississippi. Didn't get anywhere. Alabama got there in time.
Boy, that was a neat play. What happened is Mississippi State was out there. Alabama huddled up on the sideline. When that official said go, Mississippi State roared to the line to try and get that quick snap. But Alabama wasn't fooled. They reacted well. Alabama's tightened up when they've gotten down here. They need to do it right now. Then what you need to do, Dave, is you need to get in that locker room, make some adjustments on your offense and get some first downs and put some drives together. You can't keep your defense out there all the time.
Alabama had some success in the red zone against LSU, trying to come up with more success here. The pass in the corner of the end zone. Another flag. Wow. As Prentice and Bryant continue to wage war in the end zone.
Wow, this has just gone back and forth. Now, did Fernando Bryant put his hand up on Prentice? Is that what the call is going to be? I wondered if it could either be a push-off or it's the hand up on the back. We'll just have to wait and see what they tell us.
If this is against Bryant, this will be a long walk to the locker room at halftime.
You know what's amazing? Look, Mississippi State's walking back.
Pass interference by the offense.
Wow.
The penalty of 15 yards from the previous spot, followed by 2nd down.
Now watch Bryant on the play. See if Prentice doesn't push him off right there. You see him? Oh, yeah, he pushes him off. Now Bryant goes across the back. I don't see any defensive interference in that. Bryant went high up, but look when Bryant got up. When he got up, he walked back going, oh, no, not me.
Right, not again. Well, those two are playing, they're locking up just about on every play, and that's the matchup Coach Amity wanted. And Mississippi State attacking Bryant, but you know, you're talking about a guy who's 3rd all-time in career pass breaks up in Alabama history. 3 wideouts in the game. Matkin under pressure, steps up into the pocket, has his receiver. Cooper turns inside the 5. Tony Dixon on the stop, a gain of 18.
I thought this ball slipped off of Matkin's hand because the trajectory of the ball, it wobbled out there. It looked like a lame duck going out there. It wasn't spiral. Watch right there to the left of your screen. Watch this flutter on it. Look at the ball. You see the way it's just kind of fluttering out there? He makes a great job. Cooper makes a good job and then gets down inside the 5-yard line there, right back in business.
The freshman Miles on the coverage. 3 tight ends in the game now for Mississippi State.
They're not going to get fancy down here.
3rd and goal. Matkin, turn it up.
I think that's a touchdown.
Give him a touchdown. The near sideline judge gives him credit, and Matkin goes and gives him the football. Good call.
Again, that option down the line, the threat of trying to pitch it out. He's got the option as he reads the block on the line. Watch this. He has to read the outside defensive end. If he reads penetration up the middle, he sees that defensive end go wide, then he cuts it up, and look at this stretch for the end zone. You saw the hand go up in the bottom of the screen. That was the official coming in saying he broke the plane. But Alabama has got to find some offense. They've got to be able to get first downs.
Hazelwood. His point after touchdown is good. And 17 points here in the second quarter for Mississippi State. And Wayne Matkin scores his second rushing touchdown of the season. And the Bulldogs continue to look impressive, moving the football up and down the field.
Well, you got that inside pressure. Now, see right there, Cap gets a great block, 78. That allows Matkin to turn it up inside. Well, this has been dominance, but this has just been dominance by Mississippi State's running game. They're just able to control it. Nobody knows it more than Mike DeBose.
All season, Piccadilly Cafeteria has been running a promotion where you could become a member of our Jefferson Pilot Sports television crew. Nearly 25,000 entries were received, and one lucky winner has been drawn. She is Susan Murphy of New Orleans, Louisiana. She and her husband will be members of our crew at the Tennessee Vandy game on November 28th. They will be provided airline, lodging, and $400 spending money. Congratulations to Susan Murphy from Piccadilly Cafeteria and Jefferson Pilot Sports.
Now, Susan, I know you're watching this game. Don't think you're going to come and just be a spectator. We're going to put her to work. We're going to show it how hard we work and earn our money, Dave.
What does that say about us, though, when 25,000 people want to come work on a television crew? I didn't know it was that important.
Well, yeah, sure it is. Come on now. You know, you talk about the plight of Alabama not being able to move the ball on offense. They only have 4 first downs. Mississippi State with 14 first downs in this first half. That's the telltale sign.
Jeff Walker, kickoff will go to Freddie Millens at the goal line. Millens with great speed. He's got room on the outside across the 40. Across midfield down to about the 47-yard line with a tremendous return. 53 yards, the stop made by Eugene Clinton, and that's exactly what Alabama needed.
You're absolutely correct. If they had to get a spark, they got to get something. But watch Millers get to the outside and use that speed. Right here, he tries to cut back, but he sees them coming from the backside. Now it's just get as many yards as you can. Hold on to that football. Give some great field position. And let me tell you, if Alabama is ever going to get back in this football game, they've got to do it now with 3 minutes and 50 seconds left in this first half.
And off to the outside, and Alexander down to about the 40. Clinton on the stop, his third, but the returns of Freddie Millens today have been tremendous. 20, 39, and 53. And really, Dave, here's a kid that, right here in Starkville. This is where he grew up, went to high school, and so this is a huge afternoon for him, and he is not disappointed.
No, he's been a big factor. In fact, he's been really the only offensive weapon that they've had. And now they're moving the football. If they can get a score here in this last 3 minutes, they can go in on a positive note and get some momentum for the second half.
Alexander, the outside again. Trying to get the corner, does first down, Crimson Tide. Flag is down, however, at about the 38. Gain of 6 for Alexander if it counts.
Well, there was a block on the outside. I thought it might be Michael Vaughn. Thought it might be Michael Vaughn out there. Looked like somebody got into his face mask. Not that he got into somebody else's, but I thought Michael Vaughn was jammed in the face. Face mask against the defense, that's right. Michael Vaughn, the outside wide receiver, number 22, was blocking, and the defensive corner came up and was jamming him right in the face.
You know, for a guy with your seniority, you've got great vision.
Well, whenever you see a wide receiver run with his head straight up, you know somebody had to have a hand in his face.
Foul is a 5-yard face mask by the defense. The penalty will be 5 yards from the end of the run. First down.
McClintock, your fullback. Alexander, your tailback.
And if you're an Alabama fan and you're in that huddle right now, they're saying, don't come up dry. Get some points.
There's Alexander, continues to drive. That'll be close to another first down.
Now that's the Alexander that we're used to seeing. They talk about toughness and running the football.
and he's breaking tackles. That time Menifee comes up, number 40, and he's not going to make the tackle. Right in here, you see the hands on him, and look at Alexander. After the contact, he breaks that one. It carries them for about 8 or 9 more yards.
That is a first down. We talked about these two running backs at the open, and now Alexander getting in the mix after James Johnson stole the show for nearly 2 quarters. Alexander to the outside. Mississippi there. Nowhere to go. Edward Smith read it.
Well, you talk about great running backs, and you talk about matchups. If you like offensive football and you like grinded out, smash mouth football, you got to love this game.
There is what they have done so far today. And Alexander has just about picked up all of his yards on this drive, while Johnson is closing in on 100 yards in this half. Remember, Johnson had 209 last week. 25 of those 26 yards on this drive. Play action, Zhao throws in the corner of the end zone looking for Michael Vaughn, but 3 defenders are there by Mississippi State.
Wow, he's lucky that ball wasn't intercepted. The ball had no zing on it. It just kind of floated up there. It was a floater going to the corner of the end zone. Really, Andrew Zhao was lucky that he got away with that one. He's going to roll to his strong side fake right there. A little play action trying to hold the backers. But watch this ball. You see the ball, how high it is? And it's just kind of floating out there. Boy, he was lucky that ball was not intercepted by Clinton, number 14.
And Vaughn disgusted.
Here comes the crowd.
3rd and 10. Zhao back to throw under pressure. Taken down at about the line of scrimmage. Ashley Cooper, the junior from Fort Walton Beach.
Boy, and Cooper is another one of those dogs in this defense of Joe Lee Dunn. He's a dog. He's not a backer, but he's not a defensive back either. And you can see him just come in there. He's small. He's only 6 foot, about 205, 206 pounds. But he makes a big play right here.
And they didn't know how much he would play today, Dave, because he's got a badly bruised shoulder. They are certainly glad he's on now.
Well, Alabama's got to come away with some points. This is about a 35-yard kick.
Ryan Flugner from 35 is blocked. Robert Bean comes in to make the block, and Mississippi State has great field position with a minute left. Bean, the junior out of Decatur, Georgia.
Early in the game, we talked about Robert Bean. We talked about his impact. How would he tackle? Bean comes in with a huge play right over the middle. Watch the ball. Bang, right there. He's right in there. If you take that outside, you got to make him run the outside. Bean, boy, what a play there. He's got an interception. He's got a couple tackles. Now he's got a blocked field goal. And, you know, Jackie Sherrill, he loves the special teams. He talks about the importance of the kicking game. It's a big importance today.
Being a junior college All-American at Georgia Military College. There is Mr. Bean. Actually, Dave, let me just say this. Out of Decatur, Georgia, which just happens to be where I live, also went to my high school, Lakeside. So I got to give him a, you know.
Oh, what high school?
That'd be Lakeside High School.
Oh, all right, Lakeside High School. We won't mention that.
Yeah, just, you know, same high school.
Well, Bean's played well. This Mississippi State team has played really well. Alabama, their defense has just been on the field too much. They've got to be able to move the ball. And they got a great drive that time. They just came up dry. You can't do that. You've got to get points.
The pitch to Johnson. Clock is ticking. And Mississippi State looks content to just run it out, leading by 17. And Alabama had an opportunity. They needed a spark before halftime. They thought they might have gotten it off the 50-plus yard return from Freddie Millens. But they go to the locker room trailing by 17. Mississippi State looking to win their 3rd straight over the Crimson Tide. A good first half by Mississippi State. Really a great second quarter, if you will, by the Bulldogs. Johnson with 22 carries and 100 yards.
He's on schedule for another 200-yard day.
200 last week against Kentucky. Second best all-time in the history of Mississippi State running backs. But his name is littered all over the record books, like our man Warren Pepper, who's down on the sidelines. Warren?
Thanks, Dave. Took you till the second quarter, but 17 second quarter points.
Yeah, we still have to make sure that handle our blocks. And they're playing a 9-man front. They're taking the free safety and putting her in, taking a strong safety and walking them up on the line of scrimmage. So we have to take advantage of that and be smart enough to know how to block it.
JJ's almost to 100 this half, but he's also had some other help there in that backfield, hasn't he?
Well, they played well. The fullbacks playing well, but the young running backs are, they hit the cutback that JJ missed one time.
Jackie, good luck second half. Jackie Sherrill with his team up 17-0. We'll be back with some first half highlights, also some other news around the conference with Mississippi State up 17-0 at halftime against Alabama.
Today's Bell South SEC Game of the Week is brought to you by Dodge, the truck stop of the New South, the new Dodge. By Domino's Heat Wave, just one more way Domino's is delivering 1 million smiles a day. By Duckhead, khakis since 1865. By Nationwide Insurance. For insurance coverage and financial services that meet your needs, call a Nationwide insurance agent today and get Nationwide on your side. By the Money Store, where America goes for money. And by the all-new BMW 3 Series. Everything your car does well, it does brilliantly. The Bell South SEC Game of the Week is being brought to you by Morgan Keegan, the South's premier investment firm. By Sonic, where we invite you to drive in for a change. By Century by Buick, a luxury car for everyone. By Pizza Hut, home of your favorite pan pizza. By Just for Feet, where the 13th pair is free. And by Amoco. You expect more from a leader, and you get it.
Mississippi State ready to kick off in the second half, leading by 17, looking for their 4th consecutive win at home here in 1998. They have yet to lose a ball game in Scott Field.
And boy, wouldn't you like to have been a fly on the wall in Alabama's locker room, because I can promise you, Mike DeBose was upset because his offense has just not responded in the first half.
Arvin Richard to the outside. He has a big game, but then is leveled on the outside by number 42, Jeff Walker.
Oh, boy.
Let's go down to Warren Pepper on the sidelines.
Coach, down 17. You said you worried all week about getting down against this team.
Well, again, we have an excellent opportunity in front of us. It's a challenge, but it's an excellent opportunity. We're going to find out an awful lot about ourselves if we can come back and play this next 30 minutes.
All right, Coach, there. The success they had in moving the ball, guys, in late in the half was on the ground, not in the air. Back upstairs.
Thanks, Warren. Obviously, moments ago, Mike DeBose not talking to us while the play going on. Handoff up the middle. Only a gain of about 2 yards, but moments ago, though, Dave, the hit on the sideline was the punter. Are the Bulldogs fired up, ready to hit somebody?
They are. I can promise you, though, as we look at those first half possessions, that Mike DeBose was really forceful. And look at that. You see now, you only see 2 drives where they got over 6 or 7 plays. All the rest were 3 and out. You can't do that against a Mississippi State team. You've got to be able to control the ball and drive it the length of the field.
3 wide receivers in the game. Zhao to pass. Nice looking pass and catch. Quincy Jackson with the reception, being on the coverage. Alabama's had a couple of opportunities inside the Mississippi State red zone, but they've come up short with an interception and a blocked field goal.
This is a big drive. You set the tone when you come out at halftime. And watch this, little quick out, drives them off the ball. That's a good drive there. Off the ball, Jackson gets a little bit of separation, makes that first down. So that's a big mark. They need to keep a drive together. They need to come right down the field, get some momentum back for Alabama. That's what their thinking is.
Lock in motion, the handoff to Alexander. He's got McClintock sealing off the inside. And Alexander gets a first down. A pickup of 12 for Sean. A good start for him in the second half.
Yeah, that was a good block. Dustin McClintock on the outside on Eric Daniel, the free safety. You're going to see him. We talked a lot about him. Number 30. Watch him right here. Comes inside. Now look at him looking inside. Look. Bang. There he is. Just keep him off. Now downfield, and that's just what springs him. Another good block downfield by number 8 of Alabama. That's Tim Bowens, wide receiver.
McClintock almost a tight end as well as a fullback on this team. As you look at what Sean has done so far, 41 yards. He only had 1 yard up until about 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. So he's done some damage in the past few minutes. Zhao will have to throw it just to get rid of it. He's all the way back at the 25-yard line after the pressure.
Well, that was a mix-up because I think he ran into Griff Redmill, his own left guard. When he came out, when Zhao came out, he bumped and it really knocked off his timing. Watch when he comes in here. See if you don't see number 75. Boom. You see how he kind of spins around there? And he's just not throwing the ball. When you're throwing off your back foot like that, there's not a whole lot of delivery. That play was designed to get outside a little faster. He got held up.
There are his numbers, 6 of 14. Not very good. But remember, folks, he's a second-half guy, if last week's any indication.
Oh, yeah.
240 yards in the second half against LSU. Montoya Madden up the middle, gets about 6 yards.
You know, I really liked what Mike DeBose said to Warren Pepper on the sideline. He didn't say a whole lot, but he said a mouthful. We're going to see what kind of football team we are. And that man right there, he can inspire you. It's kind of like get up or get out. You see what Zhao did last week? That's what you talked about.
That is quite impressive, and because of that, he was the SEC Player of the Week last week. Sean Alexander won the award the first 2 weeks of the season, and he gets popped right there on third down. Tremendous defense from Mississippi State. Cornell Menifee plugging up the holes on that man's defense.
Solely done. Now watch right here. Menifee is number 40. He's going to get up inside. Boy, good play right there. Get up underneath that block and make the tackle get into play. An interesting call. You know, I'm surprised. 38-yard line. You're down by 17. What you want to do, if you do, in fact, kick it, you want to pooch it out of bounds inside the 10. But I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see a fake in this situation. Wouldn't surprise me, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Pope, whose career average is right around 50 yards. A flag is down. That kick went into the end zone about 38 yards, but a flag down, line of scrimmage.
Boy, if someone was offside, lined up in the neutral zone, it was fourth down and about 4.5 to 5 yards. If they lined up in the neutral zone, oh, folks, it's motion on the offense. So it's not. It doesn't negates it. They're going to take the ball on the 20.
That's where Mississippi State will open up. Hey!
Doyle Jackson have to talk up high. Got to look up to some of these players today. They're all 6'6", 6'7".
Foul was illegal procedure by the kicking team. Not enough men on the line of scrimmage. That foul is declined. First down.
Mississippi State will take it over at their 20. Back in a moment. Rain still coming down on a cool afternoon in Starkville, Mississippi. We're at Scott Field where the homestanding Bulldogs lead Alabama 17-0, and they take over 1st and 10 at their own 20.
But wouldn't you expect a great field from an agricultural school? And that's what we have today. Very, very little slipping.
Johnson stopped at one of the few times today. And Dave, he pretty much did everything we expected he would do in the first half.
Every way. Watch this. Run to the outside, get to the left, pick up a couple good blocks, pick up yardage. He's run to the left. He's run right up the middle there. A little misdirection. Follow McClintock right up the gut. Get to the outside, pick up yards. He's gone to the right. Going down the outside. Watch the toss. Get a good block from your fullback. Get to the outside. He's gone everywhere today.
And we talked about this offense kind of being a right-handed offense, and you can see he's picked up majority of his yards over there.
Yeah, that's the direction that he's run. He's run in the center of the line 12 times for only 18 yards, but he's been very, very effective in that first half.
Defensive front of Alabama steps it up. Cornelius Griffin with a big hit.
Well, Griffin is really playing well. We talked about him being an important factor. He's got 7 tackles, sliding the line. He comes out on a short passing down, get a little bit more speed in there, but the big man in the middle has played well. Griffin just controlling the center, and he's playing against a good center in Eric Allen. I mean, he's a top center. Alabama, they need some breaks. They need a turnover. They need something good to happen. They need a long play. They need something to get some offensive spark. If you're Mississippi State, you're just controlling the clock, just running the ball, just eating it up.
Well, the play clock was running down, so Matkin had to call a timeout. With 10:43 to go here in the second quarter on a 3rd down and 10. We will come back and have more Mississippi State, Alabama, our Bell South SEC Game of the Week. Mississippi State's looking to improve their record to 6-3. Alabama stands at 6-3 currently, 3-3 in the SEC. The Bulldogs 3-2 in conference play, but Alabama has some work cut out, trailing by 17, but don't count out the Tide after what happened last week. 4 wide receivers in the football game on 3rd and 10.
Oh, they got that underneath screen.
Kevin Cooper spins his way to a 1st down across the 30.
So many teams use this underneath screen. It's a tunnel screen. You start your wide out. He's on the line. He gives just a little fake, and then he just stops back. Watch the lineman. Bail out. You see right there, 53, Eric Allen. They're coming out there. Now watch the receiver. Get underneath. Now, everybody blocks. The ball's right there. You see the big lineman coming out there? Watch the results. He stretches for that 1st down. He had to make about the 30-yard line. He makes the 31.
Kevin Cooper, a senior out of Batesville, Mississippi, 6'3", 195. Matkin, the redshirt freshman, 6 of 10 on the afternoon. Johnson goes to the left side, gets it outside. Across the 50 to the 45-yard line. Tony Dixon has to knock him out of bounds. A gain of 25.
Well, I saw another great block by the fullback, Kenny Williamson, number 32. Watch him get out. He's taking a lesson from Dennis McKinley. Bang, just knock him in there. If I was James Johnson, every time I'd go back to huddle, I'd be saying to the fullbacks, thank you. What great blocks.
David, when they run that play, which they've done, it doesn't look like it should go for 20 yards.
Wow, look at the yards. That average stays up there, a little bit down from the pass. But the fullback is so important in this power football.
Hand off to Johnson. He cuts it to the outside, inside the 30 to the 25-yard line. Another 1st down for the Bulldogs and another big gain. This one of 19 yards for Mr. Johnson.
And another great block by Kenny Williamson, number 32, the fullback. On the outside, Kenny Smith, number 88. Right of your screen to the top. Bang! You see the block right there? Look at Johnson. He's into the secondary, off for the run. Picking up those yards, but the fullback. And when it's not Dennis McKinley, it's Kenny Williamson, 32 and 39. They've been answering the call.
Kenny Williamson, 6'2", 240, out of Seminary, Mississippi, has done a job today. Handoff this time goes to Miller. He stopped at the line of scrimmage, or barely stopped, I should say.
Well, I'll tell you this, and Alabama's defense is playing hard. I don't want to take anything away from their playing hard.
Let's go down to the sidelines and check in with our man Warren.
Hey, Dave, interesting story on Wayne Matkin, the freshman quarterback. When he first went in about a month ago or so, they were having trouble hearing him, and his voice just was so high-pitched that they were having a little trouble down the line. They sent him to a voice coach here on campus. He's in the communications department, and they've got him lowered a little bit. Instead of the hut, it's now hut. It's not Dave Rowe deep, but, I mean, it's pretty understandable now.
Yeah. Now, remember it was Dr. Flick, I think it is, and he does a lot in communications.
Up top. Ruled incomplete, but a flag is down. Love was the intended receiver, but guess what? Bryant involved with another flag. We'll see if it goes against him or Love.
I thought Wednesday was Veterans Day, not Memorial Day. We've seen enough flags today. There it is, holding on the defense. You just cannot put your hands on that receiver when he comes down. And Fernando Bryant, he's their best defensive corner. Number 25, get a little bit of pressure there. Look him throw it up. You see right there, Bryant gets in there, gets his hand in there. Maybe we can see it a little bit more this way here, coming right at you. You see Bryant getting that hand in there. The official in great position to make the call. And as long as the official's in great position, you trust the call that he makes. It's not any one-sided call. It's just a fair call. It's what he saw.
That puts the ball at about the 13-yard line. 1st and 10 from there. Johnson back into the football game behind his fullback, Kenny Williamson. Matt Butler Butler in motion. There's the handoff to Johnson. He's popped at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Trevis Smith, number 48, put a helmet on Johnson.
And that's what you've got to do. You know Johnson's going to get the football. You almost have got to stop him and then worry about everybody else. You see Trevis Smith there. He's just taking on himself. He says, I'm going to stop him. And he just shoots through and drops him.
The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Jefferson Pilot Sports. This broadcast is a copyright presentation. Any use of this broadcast without the express permission of the Southeastern Conference and Jefferson Pilot Sports is strictly prohibited. We come to you from Scott Field, the second oldest on-campus facility in the country, built in 1914. Matkin rolling. As a receiver, gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Well, you talk about how tired that Alabama defense is. They've been on the field a long time. This is the 8th or 9th play of this drive. Good. Wayne Matkins gets a little bit of pressure there. Kendall Moorhead, 54, and then he gets outside that pressure and takes time. Just finds his wide receiver Cooper out in the flat, number 88. Good catch. Great concentration there. This Alabama defense has been on the field a long time, and now we might be getting a little bit more rain.
Starting to come down a little bit heavier.
And you know the defense that's resting, don't you? Joe Lee Duns. They're sitting over here watering down.
You know, he's telling us he's having trouble practicing with his defense. So many people are banged up, so this is a great break for their defense. Across the middle, a flag is down.
That flag's along the line of scrimmage. Had nothing to do with the play.
Hit by Marcus Spencer on Kevin Prentice was a pretty good wallop.
Illegal motion on the offense. Now, do you take that, you allow the penalty to not take the penalty and take the down, or do you take the down and try to get him back? Take the penalty and try to get him back a little bit farther. That's the decision that Alabama has to make.
Foul was an illegal shift by the offense, which is declined. 4th down.
Brings up that 4th down. That's what you want.
It's 4th and 11. Ball rests on about the 14, and here comes Brian Hazelwood, who was good earlier from 22 yards out.
Well, you start talking about mistakes. When you're in a ball game like this, you start looking for mistakes, and Mississippi State hasn't made any mistakes.
Well, a little moist on the field. We'll see if that has any bearing on this 30-yard field goal from Mr. Hazelwood. Kick is up.
Boy, that's
and
great.
It is perfect.
Great hold. Just a great hold on the play.
Brian Hazelwood adds to Mississippi State's lead with his second field goal of the afternoon. They lead it 20-0. Back after a word from your local station. Mississippi State's defense has posted 4 shutouts in their last 14 SEC football games. They've got one here through 2.5 quarters. And the Bulldogs will kick it off. A little pooch kick. They're caught at about the 36-yard line by Terry Jones Jr. And Brian Hazelwood did the pooch kick. Usually Jeff Walker will kick off the deep kicks, but really his confidence is back without question with 2 solid strikes today on the football.
Boy, watch this. In the rain, high snap. He sees the flash, and what a good hold by Rob Morgan, one of the backup quarterbacks. Get that ball, get it down, but it looks like Hazelwood has corrected whatever he had wrong last week. He's doing it well.
Jackie Sherrill handles the special teams and said he never lost confidence in Hazelwood despite missing 5 of his last 8 kicks. And he's hit him right down the center of the pipes today. Alabama folks, they got to get some first downs. Sean Alexander, the pitch. Bulldogs are there, going nowhere. Cornell Menifee with a huge defensive play and a big loss by the Crimson Tide.
Well, what you're trying to do on that play is hope that they drop into defensive coverage, but the defense was not full. See, what you're doing is you're in shotgun, then you just toss it out and try to use Sean Alexander's speed to get the outside. But Mississippi State sliding along the line, playing with great intensity. Cornell Menifee has made a lot of things happen. He's one of those juniors that has just really responded when he's gotten playing time, and he seems to get more and more of it every game.
3 wide receivers in the game. Alabama backed up. Zal has a receiver. Wide open on the far side. It's Freddie Millen spins his way out of trouble, and a big, big time first down for the Crimson Tide. That could have been a devastating play.
Wow.
Had they not picked up some yardage.
What a move by Millens on that play. Did you believe that? I thought he was going to step out of bounds.
That was a gain of 26 yards for the freshman out of Starkville.
Watch this move. Out on the flat. You catch it. You think that a wide receiver is going to step out of bounds. A lot of poise there by Zal, looking out. Now when he catches it, watch right here. Come back inside, twist back outside, stay in bounds. Good hustle there by Mississippi State. If they don't hustle.
Zal showing some strength. Finally brought down by Ashley Cooper. Picks up his second sack of the season. And a big loss for Alabama of 13.
Well, the reason they like Ashley Cooper, number one, is because of his speed. He's not big. He's only 6 foot, about 203, 4, 5 pounds. But he's got great mobility, and he runs to the football. They use this dog defense to get to the outside. You can see Cooper, bang, brings him down. Big loss.
Second down and 22. They picked up a first down on about 2nd and 18 a moment ago. See if they can do it again here.
Boy, here comes Mississippi State. They got a lot of people up on the line.
Zal fumbles the football. It's loose. Picked up by Chris Samuels, who's hammered at the 40-yard line.
And I wonder if that shoulder is not bothering Zal more than what you think, because he dropped that football as he was running out of the huddle. He didn't get hit. He just dropped it. So I wonder if that shoulder injury that he sustained earlier might not allow him just to hold the football. Look at this. He doesn't get hit. He just comes out of the pocket right there, and look, he's just going to drop the football. Maybe that shoulder is. I don't, you know, it's hard to believe. I almost think that maybe they need to take him over to the sideline, talk to him a little bit, find out, in fact, if it is bothering him. Because Zal is too good a quarterback.
Third down, 25. 3 wide receivers in the game. Shotgun for Zal. Across the middle, Scott Alexander. He's got some room. A lot of room. A first down inside the 30 to the 26. What a great play call by Alabama.
Well, what they did is they did a drag across the middle. They had one-on-one Larry Campbell and Sean Alexander, and it was a mismatch.
A gain of 35 yards.
Just dump it over the middle. You see 46 is Campbell trying to catch him. He's in the mismatch. He's not going to keep up with Sean Alexander's speed.
What a great play call by Alabama. That is 2 huge first downs on this drive that were 20-plus yards away.
Boy, and Alabama needed that. They needed a spark.
Alexander gets it down to about the 20, a gain of about 5 yards. But unbelievable, this series. Just when you think Alabama's not going to go anywhere, matter of fact, they're going backwards.
Yeah, they really answered the call on that play, because that one just had to. Third down, 25. You just can't go too many more series without getting back into the football game. If they can score now, there's still 4 minutes left in the third quarter. You can get back in this football game.
It's second down and 5. 2 tight ends in the game. Handoff, Montoya Madden, and he picks up another first down for Alabama. This time it wasn't so difficult.
Boy, hard running by Madden in the middle. He just saw that first down marker, and he was going to get it. He's a load in there.
5-9-2, 30. Umpire got tripped up a little bit.
Yeah, that's dangerous back there. You got a lot of guys running. But that's Ted Davis. He's tough.
Right.
Hey, Ted. He's an old linebacker, NFL linebacker. Ted, what happened to that low base that you used to have? Getting soft on me.
Yeah, I saw that low base at the dinner table last night. In the eye. Alexander stiff arms, gets to the outside, breaks a tackle down to about the 7 or 8 yard line before he's hauled down. Scores besides here, where it's 20-0. Florida starting to mount their lead over South Carolina, 33-7 now. Kentucky over Vanderbilt by 14. That in the second quarter. Texas A&M trailing by 1 to Missouri.
Surprise.
Michigan by 17 over Wisconsin. I don't think that's really a big surprise, though, Dave.
No, Wisconsin undefeated. Of course, Penn State leading Northwestern 34-0. That's not a surprise, but Wisconsin's a little bit of a surprise. But as you say, you know, people have said they haven't played the tough teams of their conference.
Michigan playing extremely well. A timeout taken by Andrew Zhao as the skies have opened up beyond belief at this point. This is pretty much what it did for 12 hours last night. Now it's time to take a look at the BMW Ultimate Drive of the Game, brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Mississippi State drove it all the way down the football field, setting up Hazelwood. It was an 8-play, 11-play drive, I should say, culminating with a Brian Hazelwood field goal from 22 yards out. 82 yards. They chewed up 453, and Mississippi State still having not many scoring drives over 5 minutes.
That's true.
Which is strange, the amount of times they run the football with James Johnson.
Yep, very much so. You see Joe Lee Dunn there. He's still in this football game. I want to tell you something. I've watched Joe Lee for a lot of years. I've not seen this much intensity on him. He's usually pretty laid back, but look at that scour on him. He's not smiling.
He didn't really have a whole lot to say to us yesterday. And, you know, was very nice to us, but was definitely focused on this football game. The pass in the end zone. Bean, out of bounds. Out of bounds.
I want to tell you, Andrew Zhao, you talk about making decisions. He lucked out on that one because he made a bad decision. He just threw the ball up. Now, Sean Alexander might have been open on the play, but Quincy Jackson is not. You see Bean just drop back, got him in coverage right here. Now watch this. See where he throws the football? Look at Bean. Goes high for it. Foot comes right down on the line. But again, look at this. You see that there's two defenders right there, and Bean's in the best position to catch it.
Bean had an interception earlier, and there is Alabama inside the 20 today. And it is pouring. Flag down, Zhao. Nowhere to go, throws it across the middle, and a flag down in the end zone as well.
Well, two flags. I think the first one's going to be offsides. I thought the outside rusher on it might have been Edward Smith. Number 2 was offside to start, and then is it defensive interference in the end zone.
But a huge break day for Alabama if it is offsetting.
Yeah, there's both penalties, offside and defensive interference. So they're both going against Alabama, but you can clearly see that number 2, Edward Smith, or someone on the end of the line, jumped offside to start.
There is Ed Smith.
Now that gives them a first down. That was a third down play.
Offsides by the defense is declined. Pass interference by the defense. The penalty will be at the 2-yard line, followed by a first down.
And you can see Joe Lee Dunn doesn't like that. Look at how tight he is. I mean, he's into this football game. But gives Alabama a good break right there because they were going to bring up 4th down, and they got 2 penalties. They got the first down now. Don't try to do anything fancy. Just plow the football in. Get behind the big guys. Maybe get behind Cuthbert, who's about 320 pounds, or Jason McDonald, the right guard and right tackle.
The handoff to Alexander right up the middle against that big Bulldog defensive front, and they stop him short of the goal line. Tackle made by Connor Stevens and also Cornell Menifee.
Boy, Connor Stevens, number 90. Watch him just to the left of your screen. Number 90, he's just going to, watch right here. Thunk! I mean, Sean Alexander, when he hit in it, that didn't budge an inch. I mean, he just ran into a wall. The freshman filling in for Barron Simpson. We talked about the loss of Barron Simpson.
Done a nice job stopping Alexander today, but they didn't stop him there. Alexander pulls his way into the end zone for a touchdown. That is his 3rd touchdown of the season.
That may be the spark that Alabama needs to get back in this football game.
That is his 11th touchdown of the season. I need to correct myself on that. But watch Sean Alexander, a guy not known for necessarily taking it up the gut, Dave, and he did what he had to do there.
Boy, he really did. Broke the plane into the end zone. Got some good blocks up front by Hogan, the center, and Redmill, the left guard. Drive blocks right on it, and that's what Lyman loved. Just smash mouth, drive them off the ball.
Extra point by Klugner is up and good. The Tide have rolled their way down the field, 64 yards and they have closed the gap to 13, 20-7 with 2:09 to go in the third quarter. Next Saturday, we will have one of these two games as our Bell South SEC Game of the Week. And they're not bad either, folks. Kentucky at Tennessee or Arkansas at Mississippi State. T. Martin leads the top team in the nation against Heisman hopeful Tim Couch and the Kentucky Wildcats, while the Hogs and running back Mondre Hill go up against the top rusher in the SEC and James Johnson. Kickoff is 12:30 Eastern, 11 Central, 11:30 Central. So check your local listings. We'll have either Kentucky, Tennessee, or Arkansas, Mississippi State. And, of course, you can go online with jpsports.com to find out much more about the SEC on Jefferson Pilot Sports. Bob Kessler will be back with you next week, and I'm envious.
We have fun, don't we? Boy, there's nothing like SEC football.
Tremendous game here in Starkville today.
Boy, don't you know Mike DeBose is he's gonna have gray hair if Andrew Zhao can get him back in this football game. He said last week, we never played that bad, and we won. And sure enough, they're coming back in this football game.
Wisniewski's kickoff taken by Mississippi State. DeCenzo Miller across midfield to the 45. And just when you thought Alabama had some momentum, there it goes, a return of 37 by Miller.
Well, great players make great plays, and that's what Miller did. Boy, he just scampered through here. Watch him get this football now. Come up the middle, get behind those breaks. Now watch him look back to the right. Look for that little cutback, and he finds it right there. Now he's out in the... And you just got to grab on and hold on for everything you got. You just can't let go and hope that you get some help. But look at the field position.
Johnson, the tailback in the I formation on 1st and 10 from the Crimson Tide 45. He kicks it outside, gets a couple of yards. Alabama there that time. Tackle made by the senior Tito Smith. That's his 5th tackle of the afternoon.
Well, this is when Mississippi State can really wear on you. Minute 30 left in this third quarter. They just run that football. They use that clock.
Alabama really had some huge plays, some long 2nd down and 3rd down opportunities where they had to convert the 1st down. They did so. They go 64 yards in 5 minutes, culminating with a 1-yard touchdown run by Sean Alexander, his 11th touchdown of the season.
Now to stay in this football game, they need something good on defense.
That would be James Johnson again. And Tony Dixon again with a tackle. That is 7 tackles now for Tony Dixon in the secondary. His free safety partner, Spencer, has 5.
Well, this is what you don't want making your tackles, and that's your strong safety. You can see that he comes up there. Dixon comes up number 24, but he doesn't tackle him until they get 6-7 yards. You can see those defensive backs for Alabama starting to creep up a little bit. They know they have got to stop Johnson.
Dixon had a career-high 11 tackles last week against LSU. Matkin throws to the near side, has Matt Butler, but he drops it.
Boy, that ball was right there.
Reggie Miles on the coverage out of Pascagoula, Mississippi. But Butler, the junior, Baton Rouge, just couldn't hold on to it. He has 9 catches this year.
Boy, this is where your punter comes into effect, because you want a pooch kick, get him down inside there. It's about the 36, 37-yard line. So you want to get him inside the 10. Now, what happens here, they come out and what they do is they line up in a formation, then they shift back.
Matt Wyatt is their pooch punter. He will step back and try to knock this inside the 15-yard line.
Oh,
bad snap over the head of Matt Wyatt. He will fall on it at the 40-yard line, and another big break for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Wow.
High snap over his head. And Matt Wyatt, a quarterback, goes up high, and Wyatt's not short. Wyatt is 6'5". If if Walker had been in there, this would have cleared his head because Matt Wyatt went up high. But look at the field position that Alabama's going to have.
Well, that might have been the first time today we've seen visible evidence of the moisture on this football field. And the rain comes down.
Boy, look at the concern on Jackie Sherrill. If you're Mike Dubose, you're over there saying, wow, something finally going right for us.
Great field position for Alabama at the 40. Zhao pump fakes, goes deep, got a receiver wide open. Sean Alexander scores from 40 yards out, and just like that, cut into the Mississippi State lead. They now trail by only 7, and it could be 6.
What a play by Matkin on the play. What he does is, he just, Andrew Zhao, I should say. Zhao comes back and he fake pumps. It holds the cornerback and allows Sean Alexander to get down the sideline. Just an incredible play by Zhao. He just fake pumped it, looked deep, and just laid it out, thought, oh boy, don't overthrow him.
Ryan Blugner, the point after is up. And just like that, folks, it is 20-14. It was 20-0.
Boy, what a series. Alabama, I'll tell you one thing. Now watch the fake pump by Zhao right here. Look, fake pump right there. Now pull it back down, throw it deep. That throws the cornerback and allowed Sean Alexander. Look how wide open he is. And credit that big offensive line for giving him time where he could fake pump, bring it back down, and let Alexander get deep. Look at that line up front blocking. You see Hogan there, 74. He's locked on one. And look at Alexander, way out all by himself.
For Alexander, that's 3 catches for 86 yards, and he beat perhaps the best cover man Mississippi State has in Robert Bean for the touchdown. And now here you go, Dave. You've got a young football team in Alabama. They gained confidence last week. Now they think that they are invincible, I guess, in this.
Well, they won a game last week they should not have won. Every coach will tell you on Alabama, we shouldn't have won that football game, but they won it. And that magic has come over in this second half because they were totally outplayed in the first half, had no drives, very few first downs, and all of a sudden they're down by 6 points.
Wisniewski will kick off. He lays it up high, trying to avoid Kevin Prentice. Taken by Miller again, who had a nice return moments ago. This time he spins his way to the 35-yard line. With 5 seconds to go in the third quarter, Miguel Merritt on the stop for Alabama.
And you remember, Dave, we talked in our rewinds for Mississippi State, don't make mistakes. They've made a mistake, and it's a costly mistake because it's allowed Alabama to get back in this football game. Now, if you're Wayne Matkin, you go out there, you get in that huddle, and you just turn around and say, okay, we're going to get it back together. We're going to go to do what we do best. That's Johnson, led by the fullback block, and just grind it back out and see if they can get control. But it's going to be an interesting fourth quarter here in about 5 seconds.
There are 5 ticks left to go before we come to the conclusion of this third period that has seen Alabama score twice.
Boy, and Alabama's playing with a lot more life.
Wide open is the fullback, McKinley. He rumbles to midfield. First down, Mississippi State as the horn sounds. Fernando Bryant on the stop, a gain of 15. And that will do it for the third quarter. But we've got a great one from Starkville. The Crimson Tide trail by 6. Back with more of our Bell South Game of the Week in a moment. We are back as the rain has, I guess I wouldn't say subsided, but
it hadn't stopped yet.
Where we're standing, it's not raining, and that's all I care about.
Well, they dry the ball off in between each play, but there's very little wind, too, and that's a big factor.
Beginning of the fourth quarter, 1st and 10 from midfield for Mississippi State. James Johnson hit by Tito Smith, who now has 6 tackles in this football game. Let's take a look at our duckhead stats through 3 quarters. Things are beginning to even up a little bit.
Yeah, you saw a lot more offense by Alabama in that third quarter. They got 2 scores, and really, Mississippi State has given them life. They were ready to, I mean, I'm not saying that they were ready to fold their tent, but Mississippi State was about to make the comeback impossible until they got that huge turnover.
Well, they had 2nd and 20, got a first down. They had 3rd and 25.
Yeah, that pass to Sean Alexander on that crossing pattern was a huge play call.
Matkin has to jump in the air to get the pass off. He's trying to find Dennis McKinley, but he is hammered in the backfield.
Well, that's where you want to go with the pass. When you see the fullback, when you see a blitz out there and your fullback's out in the flat, his coverage man is the one that's blitzing. Big down here for Matkin. Needs to pull out a winner. Needs to use that deep voice that Warren Pepper was telling us about.
Had some voice lessons. There's Jackie Sherrill. Just wants his man. Doesn't care how he gets it done or what he has to say to do it, but come up with a big play on 3rd and 11. 3 wide receivers.
Let's see if Matkin doesn't use that elusiveness. He can roll out. He's got a lot of speed.
Across the middle, it's long, wide open, cuts it to the outside.
that time. Sit back in that pocket, look deep, have that little crossing pattern. He's been successful with it. And this time he finds number 8, Kelvin Love, across the middle. Look at the time his offensive line gives him. Sit down there, just a perfect strike. And Love's a big target, 6'3", about 190, and he runs like a gazelle when he gets the ball out there.
Bryant and Spencer combining on the stop. Just a big hole in the middle of that Alabama defense.
Well, you have to credit Mississippi State. They got that huddle, and they turned around and said, hey, we were up by 20. We're only up by 6 now. We need to take control of this football again.
Johnson, like a pinball down inside the 5.
Did he fumble the ball on the tail end of it? I think the official's saying he was down. But Johnson's just, you talk about putting your head down and running over him, and that's Fernando Bryant, number 25. He runs over. See him right here, left of your screen. Watch him come up here. I'll get you. Watch this. Boom! Get out of my way. Wow.
James Johnson, single-season record, 1,000-yard rushers, the only one in Mississippi State history to go back-to-back 1,000 yards, and he now has 1,195, a new school record. Trying to add to that total, the stutter step, touchdown, James Johnson.
And that's exactly what he does. Going to go outside, gets the block right here. Stutter step, sees that little seam back inside. When you talk about great running backs, you talk about vision as they see the hole open up. His 10th TD rushing this year, James Johnson.
Mississippi State with 26 points, trailing or leading by 12, will now go for 2 points. They'll line up in the eye. There is Johnson in motion. Matkin runs into his fullback, throws it in the corner of the end zone. No flag. Looking for Kevin Cooper, but Dixon on the coverage, and that was that play looked ugly from the get-go.
Yeah, Cooper sure wanted that interference, but he didn't get it.
A great touchdown for a great running back. MSU's new all-time single-season rushing leader adds to the Bulldogs' lead. SEC football is brought to you in part by Toyota. Toyota every day. And I'll do one of these games every day myself there, Dave Bro. This has been a dandy. Alabama cut the Mississippi State lead 20-14. Now Mississippi State behind James Johnson builds on it 26-14. Short kickoff taken by Marvin Brown. There's a pile up about the 34, 33-yard line, a return of 11, and there is James Johnson. He has 159 yards today, but the story is he is now Mississippi State's all-time leading rusher, but you see a guy there in 1995 that had a big influence on James, the late Kiefer McGee.
Yeah, that was a tremendous inspiration for him. Kiefer McGee, of course, killed in a tragic swimming accident here, but James Johnson carries it on for him. And today he's got 32 carries. That's his all-time record for carries. Coming in, he had that 28 carries last week for 209 yards. But this week, so far, 32 carries.
Alabama in a hole now, trailing by 12. Zhao pump fakes. Plenty of time across the middle. Has his receiver out across the 45-yard line. That'll be Calvin Hall.
Boy, what time did Zhao have to look downfield? This is that big offensive line just giving him time. You know, you think about a pass getting off in 2.5 seconds. Watch how much time Zhao's got. Look over there, fake there. Look down there, fake there. Start to step up in the pile. Find him, bang.
How about the poise, though, of your redshirt freshman not panicking?
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's one of the areas that the Alabama coaches feel that he has grown up so much in, and that is his composure in there.
There's a nice pass. Just a little bit too far in front of Michael Vaughn. It's incomplete. Intended for Vaughn. Covered by Ashley Cooper.
And now you start thinking about Mississippi State. They're dropping 6 or 7 in coverage, and they need to get pressure on the quarterback.
Let's check in once again with Warren Pepper.
what life would be like to be a freshman in the SEC, huh? We're seeing two good ones today at quarterback, Wayne Matkin and Andrew Zhao. Mike DuBose said just a day or so ago when we were talking with him, he's just been so surprised at the poise that Zhao has. He said he has a certain air about him of confidence when he's on that field.
And he has garnered the respect of his teammates as he looks at a pressure from the Mississippi State front, and he gets it to Sean Alexander. It gets to about the 45-yard line, and that'll bring up a 3rd down.
Boy, I wondered how he got that ball off. He had Larry Campbell just falling right at his knees, and as he was falling down, he threw a strike. But there was, that time, Zhao was under tremendous pressure. And that's what Joe Lee Dunn's defense does to you. It puts pressure on you. Just when you think you're going to be able to sit back there, the defensive guru there, Joe Lee Dunn, comes up with one of them stunners to get pressure on you.
Joe Lee barely had enough players to practice last week due to injuries.
Big down here, 3rd down and 3.
Alexander, the student body left, got nowhere.
Well, you got to punt the ball. You can think that Alabama would probably go for it, but you got to punt it. But what a play by Edward Smith. Number 2 sliding along the line, and Nelson, number 17, the other dog. Both dogs are certainly dogging on this play.
Just defenders all over the football. And now Daniel Pope will step in and punt for Alabama with 11:10 to go here in the 4th quarter. Back deep is Kevin Prentice. It's a good snap.
Well, you start talking about where you are in a football game. Alabama's only 12 points down.
And a fair catch by Prentice inside the 10 at about the 6-yard line. That's a 42-yard kick, and a great one by Daniel Pope, who pins Mississippi State deep in their own territory. Now the question is, can Coach DuBose's defense make a stand? We shall see, as there is 10 minutes and 58 seconds to play in the 4th. Mississippi State leads it by 12 over the Crimson Tide. Just under 11 minutes to play here in the 4th quarter from Scott Field in Starkville, Mississippi. And Wayne Matkin, the redshirt freshman, has his team in a hole right now.
Look at that rushing yards, only 34 for Alabama, 184. And now it's Johnson time, wouldn't you think?
I would say so. And the handoff goes to Mr. Johnson, who gets a couple of yards. That'll bring up a 2nd and 8. And do you go into a conservative mode now?
Well, you tend to, thinking that you've got a 12-point lead. But Mississippi State knows they cannot give up the football here. They do not want to punt from here. If they punt from here, Alabama's going to have the ball at midfield or inside. So they want to drive at least to get 1 or 2 first downs. They want to be conservative, and they've told Matkin, don't throw it into trouble. Don't force the football.
The offset eye, handoff to Johnson. Looking for a haul, gets a couple of more yards, but that'll bring up a 3rd down and maybe 5 or 6 yards to go. And it's going to be a big down for Mississippi State. Let's check in with Warren Pepper. Warren?
Just to kind of follow up, Dave, a bit on Wayne Matkin there. He says that his day will come. He says JJ's the man right now. He says, I'm just trying to learn everything and stay out of the way. But the line that I thought was so great was that my cowbell will ring one day. Right now, he's just going to let JJ ring it as long as loud as it can get.
Matkin is not a foolish individual.
I thought you're not allowed to have cowbells at an SEC game.
Those aren't cowbells.
Oh, those aren't. Okay, those are fingers clicking. Fingers clicking.
Big 3rd down. Matkin falls to the ground on 3rd and 6.
I wonder if Eric Allen stepped on his foot because he never came out. That's what happens when the center snaps that football, tries to set up so quickly. Maybe we can see it. Watch Eric Allen, the center. See if he doesn't step on his foot. Oh, no, it's the left guard, Craig Moore, 65, who steps on his foot. Boy, and Matkin went down in a flash.
This will only be the 2nd punt of the day for Jeff Walker. His first one went 43 yards, and Arvin Richard is back to receive the kick right around the midfield stripe.
Boy, and Alabama should get great field position here. Oh, good punt.
Ooh, a short fair catch by Richard. A late hand raise, but nonetheless, Alabama has the football after a 45-yard punt and a good kick by Jeff Walker. His career average is right around 44 yards, which is the best in the history of Mississippi State football. Alabama still in it with 8:56 to go. They trail by 12. from Starkville. Alabama with the football with 8:56 to go in the fourth quarter at the 49-yard line. It's first down and 10. Shotgun for Zhao. Looking across the middle. Has his receiver a gain of about 5 yards. Poor Michael Vaughn has just stood up by Connor Stevens in the middle of the field.
I'll tell you, when Connor Stevens, the middle linebacker, when he hits you, go down. But how about that quarterback comparison? We've watched Zhao kind of come into in the second half, really come into his own 200 yards, 12 of 22. And Matkin, both freshmen, 9 of 16, real good leadership. This has been a quarterback duel and a running back duel.
3 wide receivers in a shotgun. The handoff out of the gun to Sean Alexander, who gets it close to the first down. That'll probably be about 1.5 yards shy of the first down.
Yeah, he had to make about the 41-yard line. It looks like he's going to come up about the 42-yard line. But now it's gut check time. And you talk about Mike Dubose challenging his team. I can promise you that front line is going to be challenged right now. You're looking in the eyes right there at Jason McDonald, number 70. He loves it. He's 6'6", about 315. He says, just follow me. I'll show you which way to go. Listen to this crowd.
Arvin Richards, Dustin McClintock in the backfield. The dive right up the middle. That'll be a first down for Alabama. And those are the guys you were talking about. Samuels, Redmill, Hogan, McDonald, and Cuthbert got it done up front.
Well, we talked about, you saw the intensity on Mike Dubose when he came out. This is just smash mouth. This is just big man on big man. Just drive them back. I can tell you, it's nothing fancy. You look him right in the eyeballs and you say, we're coming right over you.
7:21 and counting.
And Mike DeBose is over there thinking, I can't take many more games like this.
Zhao on first and 10. Across the middle, wide open is his receiver down to about the 28-yard line. That's Eric Locke, the freshman. Eric Daniel on the stop, a gain of 12.
And it's really interesting because Joe Lee Dunn, the last 2 or 3 series, has elected not to go with that backer pressure. He's just rushed his linemen. You see the linemen, good blocking up front. Good block in the middle, just keeping their arms down. Find those wide receivers. There's Eric Locke, number 2, one of those freshmen. And all of a sudden, you get the feeling that Joe Lee Dunn's going to come with that pressure.
2 wideouts up top. Freddie Millens on the bottom of your screen, but no need to worry about Millens as Ed Smith brings down Andrew Zhao. That is his first sack of the game, second of the season, a loss of 11.
Boy, and this is the pressure that you look for. Watch him just burst up through there, get into that secondary, and Zhao doesn't have a chance in there.
That is his second sack this afternoon, and that is actually his 6th sack on the season, which is good enough for the team lead.
Yes, it is. Edward Smith, 79 tackles. We've talked about his size, 5'11", 230. Probably a little bit small for a defensive end, but he plays that dog position, and he just finds a hole. Sips in there. He's like a cross between a linebacker and a defensive lineman.
Some other scores from around college football today. Florida, South Carolina. Many people thought that might be a disastrous situation for the Gamecocks, but they have hung tough today. Kentucky over Vandy 17-3 at halftime. Texas A&M and Missouri locked up in a good one in the fourth quarter. Michigan,
wow,
17 over Wisconsin.
They were 0-2 at one time this season.
Penn State over Northwestern 41-10.
We talk about stats as we look at Smith, 8 tackles, 5 for a loss, 2 sacks. That's the kind of player that Joe Lee Dunn really likes.
2nd and 20. Zhao under pressure, nowhere to go, he's down again.
Boy, credit this sack with the defensive secondary, because this secondary just had him covered like a glove out there. They tried to say Quincy Jackson deep on the left side, and really he just had nowhere to go. They had coverage. Look at the time that Zhao has there. There comes 95 Hilliard in there, and he gets an arm on him, and he isn't going to let down.
His third tackle, he's got no third sack, I should say. When the big man gets a hand on you, he's just hanging on.
3rd and 23. Zhao across the middle. Knocked out of Calvin Hall's hand by Kendall Roberson on a tremendous defensive play.
Boy, that is so hard on a crossing pattern to not get your arm in there and put your arm on the back. But Roberson run on a crossing pattern, top of your screen. Watch Roberson, 24. He's going to plant right here. Now watch, come up. Now he's got to get to the inside, but don't put that hand on him. Look, he just sticks that right hand in there and just pulls that football out. Outstanding play.
Alabama had moved the football pretty well, but a couple of big-time defensive plays by Mississippi State forcing Crimson Tide to punt.
Well, there's too much time left in the game for Alabama right now. They really work best with about 2.5 minutes left.
Give them 2:24, and they're the best team in the country. Daniel Pope's punt. Freddie Millens tried to save it, but it's a touchback, and Mississippi State will have it at the 20, a 41-yard kick. The Starkville native just couldn't keep it in play. This might be the defensive stand.
Look at that. Look at that stat. Mississippi State, 12 tackles for a loss. 2 of them are sacks. The other 10 were behind the line of scrimmage. That's getting great penetration.
Joe Lee Dunn's defense once again a story. Every week his defense causes problems for somebody. But now the defensive stand has to come from Alabama. They need a stop, and they need a quick one.
Well, I can tell you this, Alabama's got great pride. If there's a way they can stop them, they'll come out.
James Johnson breaks a tackle out across the 35.
Well, there's just no stopping James Johnson today. Tito Smith, the middle linebacker, missed the tackle on this. You're going to see him slide right here. He's got him right in here. He has him, but right there, but just loses him. And then Johnson just puts that head down. And wow. How about the number of carries for James Johnson? Looks like he's got a little limp in him. They came to the sideline. I think I'd like to have him back in there. 35 rushes. 35. That's incredible.
DeCenzo Miller in the football game to replace Johnson. They hand it off to Miller. He takes it across the 40. But James Johnson has been the story. Tito Smith on the stop for Alabama, along with Cornelius Griffin. James Johnson going for back-to-back 200-yard games. 179 yards. Mississippi State is a team up over 206 yards now of rushing offense. Alabama with just 28 yards on the ground today.
That's incredible. But James Johnson, you see that pop in him? He wants to go back in there. And Lynn Amity, the offensive coordinator, saying, maybe we ought to let him back in there.
In motion is Matt Butler. Oh, boy.
Wow, that was a hit.
Miller was popped by Chris Horn. The sophomore laid one on a freshman, and welcome.
Ooh, welcome is right. Horn just took a shot right through there. Watch him just blitzing through, trying to make something happen. Bam! That's the way you touch him, that you take him down, especially if you're unblocked. But you know, Alabama plays with such pride, and they just refuse to lose. They never give up.
There is a timeout taken by Mississippi State on a big 3rd and 9. 4:15 to go in the 4th. A big 3rd down and 9 coming for Mississippi State as they lead it by a dozen at home. A place they have yet to lose this year. They are a perfect 3-0. They've got a big one next week as well as Arkansas comes to town, but they're focused on picking up this 1st down.
Big down right here. You don't want to force it in trouble. If you're Alabama, you're looking for a mistake.
Swing it out to Johnson. Well played defensively by Steve Stanley. The senior read it all the way.
That was a super play by Stanley. He's the outside backer. He read screen all the way, came up and made the tackle. And if Alabama has a chance, they've got to do it now with under 4 minutes left. They've got to score, and they've got to score quick. They're down 12 points.
Arvin Richard back to receive the punt of Jeff Walker. And if Walker ever wanted to rip off a 60-yard kick. Now would be the time.
Oh.
Nearly blocked.
Wow.
And what a kick. Chris Horn nearly blocked it, but then Walker booms it inside the 10. A 50-yarder in the air.
How did that punt not get blocked? Look at Walker. You think he's not excited? Chris Horn came through there, and I mean, watch number 1. He comes through there. Watch this streak. He's got it, right? It looked like it went right off his fingertips. And what coverage. Just incredible coverage. Look at Clinton in there, number 14. He got a start today.
Dave, they're at the 7-yard line. They've got 93 yards to go.
Well, you got to go to your wideouts. You got to find them. You got to look for them. This is nothing but pass time right here. Do the little curl. Oh, you can't drop them, though.
Calvin Hall, who missed last week with a bad hamstring, right in his hands.
Well, that's just running, you know, the old cliche, running before you get the football. That's what Calvin Hall did that time. Turned, he was on a little curl pattern. Ball delivered just on a strike. Just decided to run before he looked it all the way in.
Hall will head off to the sidelines. I'm sure not a jaunt he really would want to take right now.
Well, you got to start thinking deep, and when you think deep, you think of Millens, number 15.
Speed galore is Freddie Millens, and they send him down the middle of the field. Actually, they come across the dink pass out to Sean Alexander. That's a first down out to about the 23-yard line. Stop made by Eugene Clinton, a gain of 15. That was a nice play. Send everybody deep. Alexander across the middle.
Well, exactly right. You're trying to get first downs. You're trying to keep the clock going. That's what Alexander did. You send Millens deep to try to draw the secondary. Then you just dump it across right there. You see him coming right across the middle. That's a mismatch. We saw that earlier. Now, look at this. Try to get every yard you can, then get out of bounds and stop the clock.
Well, he hasn't exactly had a stellar day running the football. He's picked it up elsewhere. Looking for Millens, right in his hands.
Oh, man, Millens had that football coming back underneath. He was looking back to the quarterback. If he could have come down with that, we might have had a foot race. Watch Millens. It's just a streak down the side, and he looks back. And he sees the pass is underthrown. Now he stops. He's got the football. If he comes down with that, he's got about 3-yard separation. And with his speed, watch out, Nelly.
A homegrown product out of Starkville, Mississippi. Hearing it from some of the Mississippi State players who he knows quite well. 2nd and 10. Handoff, Alexander. He gets it to the 30. Alexander. That'll bring up 3rd and 5, and Alabama needs to get going.
Yeah, they need to score. They got to play hurry-up offense. Got to get the ball downfield. Look for those wide outs. These are automatic checks on the line. You see Zhao turn from side to side, make the call. Sometimes it's a hand signal, but no more huddle unless the clock is stopped.
3rd and 5. Zhao. Quincy Jackson breaks a tackle, another first down, and he gets out of bounds. A lot of effort from Quincy Jackson as he was driven out of bounds by Tim Nelson.
Well, I can tell you that Mississippi State is a little bit concerned right now because Alabama is using that wide open offense. Top of your screen, number 7. Post come underneath now. When he gets the football right here, watch him turn back underneath. This tackle there by number 24, Roberson. But good hustle there. You see number 17 coming in there. That's Tim Nelson, the dog safety, making that tackle.
Quincy Jackson had a big game last week. There's Millens. He spins another first down. All right, so Alabama's got it going now.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, I mean, now they're down in the time when they last week had all that success against LSU. 2:26 left on the clock. They're driving the football.
It was 2:24 last week when Alabama began their improbable run to victory by scoring 15 points to beat LSU 22-16.
Boy, and don't think that Joe Lee Dunn and Mississippi State they didn't look at that film.
There they go. Looking for Millens. Roberson on the coverage. And that was similar to the same route they scored on against LSU, just the other side of the field.
Well, the one thing that you don't want to do if you're on the Mississippi State side of the football is to get beat deep. For Alabama,
All they want to do is they want to do that little curl, see if you can get a crossing pattern, see if you can get a break. But each team only has one timeout left, so timeouts could play an important factor in this game.
2:19 to go. Second down and 10 from the Mississippi State 42. Hand off the gut. Actually, Alexander kicks it to the outside when nothing was there. And he gets about 5, but that keeps the clock moving.
Yeah, there was a fumble on the tail end, and the clock just keeps on running. Now they stop it. Big down right here. Alabama, they want to keep this drive alive. They're sitting on, they need about 5 yards, almost 5 yards for the first down.
Dow looking for Jackson. Actually, Eric Locke just couldn't keep up with it. Eugene Clinton on the coverage. Dow just threw it a little too far ahead of the freshman. And this is it. 4th down and 5.
And listen to this crowd get into it.
And Alabama will take their last time out of the football game with 1:47 to go. They started this drive at their own 7.
Well, it's a huge down. You don't think the teams can do it 2 weeks in a row, but Mike DeBose has seen some strange things happen. He's got a young team.
Next Saturday, we will have one of these 2 games as our Bell South SEC game of the week. Kentucky at Tennessee or Arkansas at Mississippi State. James Johnson has rushed for over 2,100 career yards in his last 2 years, and he climbs up the rushing charts in the SEC as he is the all-time Mississippi State rushing leader. He will have to go against Arkansas's Chris Chakuma and Madre Hill. It's a big SEC West matchup next Saturday. Kickoff 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central. We'll have either Kentucky, Tennessee, or Arkansas, Mississippi State, or you can go online with jpsports.com to find out more about the SEC on Jefferson Pilot Sports. And we are at Scott Field, where it has drizzled all afternoon, but the football game has certainly brightened things up in this old football complex.
Yeah, boy, this is the play. Wait till you hear this crowd get into. Everyone is standing. There's nobody sitting down. You're hearing cowbells, you're hearing yellow screams, and you'll be able to know what happened.
Mississippi State hasn't beaten Alabama 3 times in a row since 1914. Zhao behind Jackson. He's looking for a flag. No flag. Mississippi State takes over.
What a day. What a day for James Johnson. Jackie Sherrill told us it was going to be a smash mouth, drive it down your throat game, and that's what it is. And Alabama not able to have the magic that they had last week. Throw it incomplete out here. Look for a flag. No flag on the play.
Andrew Zhao, once again, learning as he goes. Just a freshman, and next year we'll have to battle with Tyler Watts.
Why not give it to James Johnson?
Why not? James Johnson to the 10, taken down at the 5-yard line.
Oh, boy. That'll get him over 200 yards.
A 58-yard pickup for the senior, who already claimed a Mississippi State single-season rushing record in this game today. Goes over 200 yards in consecutive games.
Boy, just a great slash right here. Good block on the backside, and he just finds the hole and just runs through it. That was Michael Fair, number 52, who was the guard leading on that block, and he just blew it right up there, down inside the 5-yard line. And the clock ticks on.
A hands off to DeCenzo Miller, who takes it inside the 5. And for James Johnson, that is a new single-game rushing record for Mississippi State. 36 carries, 237 yards, and a couple of scores. I haven't seen a running performance like this in a while.
Unbelievable. Look at that average, 6.6 yards
That'll get him a free shoe shine at Express Shine here in town.
Breaks the old mark, which was 217 yards by Kevin Bowie.
Well, they'll shine his shoes for free. Man. Wow, what a day. What a day. And it couldn't happen to a better player. James Johnson. What a great player.
The last time they had 3 straight wins against Alabama.
Well, you're looking at one of the premier running backs that I've ever seen in this conference or any conference. A guy who just works hard, drives the football in there, doesn't ask any quarry, doesn't make he just never makes mistakes. Just plays hard all the time.
Miller stopped at the goal line, but that will do it. James Johnson takes the Bulldogs and puts them on his shoulders and leads them to a victory. Mississippi State beats Alabama by 12. Back in a moment.
Today's Bell South SEC Game of the Week was brought to you by Bell South. Bell South is proud to be the official telecommunications company of the SEC. By Pizza Hut, home of your favorite pan pizza. By Amoco. You expect more from a leader, and you get it. By the new Money Manager account from Nations Bank and Nations Bank Investments. Raise your money to the next power. By Sonic, where we invite you to drive in for a change. And by Park Avenue by Buick, the power of understatement.
Time to announce our Amoco players of the game. And guess what? James Johnson, 36 rushes, 237 yards, and 2 TDs. Also had 3 catches for 75 yards. Andrew Zhao, also a fine performance in a losing effort. We'll come back to Starkville after a word from your local stations.